touchdowns in the Grand Arena.
Yep, and we can see Temple Storm. They're going to be locking in Jamie, I believe, on the Enhancement Shaman. So playing Enhancement Shaman, Frost Mage, Restoration Druid, not a composition you see often, but you know, Temple Storm with their limited roster right now, not having their fourth Botar here, they had to come up with something quickly.
I mean, in the current meta, Enhancement Shaman off healing is incredibly powerful. Frost Mage received an Azerite trait buff, so Alec is running the Ice Form build. Every minute, he gets a massive boost of intellect, and basically Tempo Storm are trying to take advantage of what is most strong in the meta. So this composition seems like it's not going to work, right? You've got Polymorph that's on the same DR as Hex. It seems like it's a little bit of a mismatch, but these are some of the most powerful specializations in the meta, and Tempo Storm, I feel, are experimenting with them combined together.
Yeah, Tempo Storm and Method Black both going to be utilizing that. So basically, instead of using the Icy Veins, they opt for the Ice Form. That's going to be a 1-minute cooldown, and every minute they're going to get a big boost of intellect that they can burst with. They lose out on that additional haste, but the amount of int that they get is incredible, so look for big burst when that does happen.
Raikou already on the back foot. Nixie's getting a lot of excellent crowd control on Chaz, and it's putting Method Black quite behind. Let's see how Chaz deals with this recovery. Raikou out of line of sight. Nice Frost Nova by Alec. That's putting Raikou further behind. Alec looking for more cheeky polymorphs. Full polymorph. This is amazing crowd control from Tempo Storm on this new unorthodox meta comp. They need to try and get an ice block with this crowd control, but they don't manage to keep the chain going. Waz denies it, and Raikou, I believe, is likely to recover. Now Method Black look to attack back.
That kidney shot on Nixie. Big swap on him. No trinket available. Can they take him down? Activates the bark skin to make himself tankier. He's going to be able to escape with that, looking for a Cyclone. Goes into the Boomkin form. That's going to make him immune to Polymorph.
Whoa!
Alec, in the meantime, getting bursted down. Ray of Frost from Raikou. Can he get him down? No. The Iron Bark will deny from Nixie, and now Alec looking to strike back.
One way to punish a Restoration Druid, Nixie's running that balance affinity. That's why you see him occasionally running around as a laser chicken with antlers. That allows him to avoid Polymorph and cast heals on his partners, and it's really good against mages. But if you switch to the Druid playing this affinity, he's very squishy. He doesn't get the Guardian Druid bear form. I really want to see if Method Black look to punish that. They've gotten Nixie's trinket, they've gotten his bark skin. He's a wide open target for a swap, and it looks like they're going to try and make that swap now. This is their opening. Will Nixie fall? He's getting healed by Jamie. They don't properly cross crowd control, and that lack of crowd control by Method Black is going to lose them a kill opportunity.
Yeah, so Jamie has a lot of support from Nixie in this matchup. Nixie, like you said, very vulnerable. At the same time, Jamie on that Shaman has a lot of off healing, has the grounding totem to prevent a lot of Raikou's damage. So if, like you said, they don't use that cross crowd control on Jamie, get the double CC out when they're making these swaps on a Nixie, it's not going to be too effective. Nixie now trading out his trinket for the blind. That's a fair trade. Meantime, Raikou getting bursted down. A lot of damage from Jamie. That's one of the things about the Enhancement Shaman.
Nice.
They have such high consistent damage, and it seems to be working out very well for Tempo Storm.
I mean, Chaz is almost doomed. Raikou is down an ice block. This is looking so good for Tempo Storm. They've got more crowd control for Chaz. Nixie has been on fire with these Cyclones. Raikou in desperation is trying to get back to the pillar with Chaz. He's likely to recover in this defensive position. Waz is trying to go after Nixie and force Barkskin, and then later on get a kill. But Alec is backing him up, and Nixie follows it up with the Cyclones. Now Star Surging Raikou. Nixie's team is so far ahead. Immense pressure. Chaz is almost completely tapped on mana. Raikou is likely to have to trade his final ice block if Jamie can stay on target. This could easily be it. Raikou blocks, and Chaz is Tempo Storm are going to take game one against Method Black.
Yeah, there's a Cyclone on Chaz. They're looking to crowd control through this ice block to finish him off very, very early. Raikou jumps out, interrupting the Polymorph, but it looks like he doesn't care. He's pulling the trigger anyways. Raikou's still in a lot of trouble. If Jamie can reconnect, a nice double fear coming in from Chaz.
No!
Alive. Big swap on Nixie. They got the cross crowd control with the fear on Jamie. He trinkets out to support Nixie, keep him alive just a little bit longer. Tempo Storm needs to not throw these last few moments. They are so far ahead.
They have the game in the bag. The only person that can die right now in Tempo Storm is Nixie in a stun or Jamie in a stun with Smoke Bomb in 25 seconds. But Method Black have to survive another 23 seconds. They're out of mana. They're out of blocks. Double stun secured by Jamie. He's pushing forward to nail the kill, interrupting the Polymorph and trying to stay aggressive. They purge those powered shields off every time Raikou could be in trouble. Good Polymorphs on Jamie. Nice counterspell on Alec. Raikou taking control of the match. He needs to pause it out as long as possible, but Chaz has no mana at this point. As soon as these Polymorphs end, Jamie's going to be putting out immense counter pressure. Waz is locked down in Cyclones. Nixie is on fire on this Druid in this game. This is it. They have to kill Nixie. Jamie's not in crowd control. He can support. Raikou needs to support. They need to not throw away the game. Raikou falls amidst the swap, and Tempo Storm, being down the fourth member, subbing in Nixie on the alternate healer, take down the best team in the world in game one.
You know, I've jumped in a team we have ever seen in a season leading up to BlizzCon. Will they be able to grab a game here and tie up the series?
All right, Tempo Storm, they have the lead, but now Method Black have switched to the Restoration Druid, hoping to get a bit longer of a match so they don't run out of steam with the Discipline Priest. They were not able to push Tempo Storm over. That sub out is going to allow them for a longer match. Waz sneaking across the playing field, looking for a sap. And as soon as Alec comes out of invisibility, I would imagine he is the sap target. So Waz is really being patient and waiting for that. Now Alec is visible. Waz needs to make a move quickly, but not able to find combat. Now he may try to sap Nixie. He's not able to get that either. He's going to cheap shot Nixie. Once again, playing that balanced Druid affinity. They're going to open with blind. They get Nixie's trinket. Waz held on to Vendetta. Raikou held on to Ice Form. So now that they've got Nixie's trinket basically for free, they're likely to switch to him, and Tempo Storm need to be ready to protect.
Yeah, Jamie's going to have to trade out his trinket if they do get the cross crowd control on him, and that's what we're looking for Method Black in this matchup. You can see Raikou is going to be taking a little bit of damage right now. As long as Jamie is on top of Raikou, he's going to be putting out significant damage. The Enhancement Shaman, he can be kited, but if he has uptime, one of the highest damage classes in the game.
All right, we see a bash on Nixie. They're not going after him. They're trying to cross crowd control 2 members, but not able to find it just yet. They were able to stall it out long enough for Nixie to get out of that stun. Ultimately, now getting a Cyclone on Chaz, and Nixie's crowd control has been immaculate, but with this counterspell secured by Raikou, Alec is falling behind, taking immense damage and actually forced to block first. Method Black with a lead. Yeah,
good damage coming in from Waz and Raikou. That Ebon Bolt with the Ice Form going to be putting out tons of damage on Alec. He didn't want to mess around with no Iron Bark available. Jamie now getting crowd controlled, and Method Black this game with Chaz on the Resto Druid has been able to slow down the damage of Tempo Storm just by so much. You can see Jamie into the Polymorphs, out of the Polymorphs, getting put into the Cyclone. So just excellently done by Method Black, and that's the kind of Resto Druid Mage crowd control we're really looking for when we look at a team like this.
Ooh, counterspell on Nixie. Raikou's nailed 2 of those in a row. Now that's putting Alec immensely far behind. That's just an extra crowd control that doesn't have a diminishing return. Nixie trades Iron Bark to recover through this pressure. Seems to be restabilizing. Now Raikou on the back foot gets cloned at low health, allowing Jamie to march his way slowly back to the target. The Cyclone by Nixie was very well timed. Jamie is able to reconnect. Nice Cyclone on Waz, so he can't interrupt the Ray of Frost. Chaz with an equally good Cyclone to interrupt Alec's Ray of Frost. Both teams playing at the top level.
Yeah, Sid sort of mentioned the balance affinity earlier on. Here's a nice setup, though, coming in from Method Black. Yeah, big burst on Alec, forcing out the second Ice Block. But that balance form, or balance affinity for both Druids allows them to go into that Boomkin form, and that makes them immune to Polymorph. So the only crowd control that these mages are going to get out is a Ring of Frost, and they have to be set up in order to do that. So it's going to be a bash coming in from Nixie, or potentially a kidney shot or cheap shot coming in from Waz, and that's going to set up these mages to get that crowd control that they need.
All right, currently in this position, Alec is not looking too hot. Down 2 ice blocks, blind on Nixie. Now the trinket for the healer is out of the way. Method Black have a clear win condition with the next Vendetta, if they don't even find one before that point. Tempo Storm need to pull off a miracle. They're incredibly far behind. There's no significant openings. They need to just drag this fight out for another 2 minutes, try and reset their cooldowns, but I don't think they're going to make it to that point. They're trying to go for a miracle kill over onto Chaz, bashing him and swapping targets. He's going to survive trading Barkskin. That does leave him a little bit softer moving forward. Maybe if Jamie can stay on target, he can get a lot of pressure. He's using that pillar to line of sight Chaz's clones and still be able to stay on target by ducking in and out around the corners. It's good positioning by Jamie. They've got control of Raikou. They're getting decent uptime. Waz is trying to peel the whole team and set up for victory here, but he's still got to wait 16 seconds. He's going to need that Vendetta burst. Next crowd control on Nixie could be the end of the match.
Yeah, you need to watch Waz in these re-stealths. That set him up there. He was able to re-stealth, get a cheap shot onto Jamie, cheap shot on Nixie, and a garrote on Alex. So every time he gets those re-stealths off, it's going to allow him to CC the entire enemy team with those silences, with those stuns. So Tempo Storm, they have to do an excellent job making sure that they stop Waz from pulling that off. Normally, you can only do that with his Vanish every 2 minutes, and unless they kind of forget about him after CC chain and allowing him to get those stealths off.
All right, counterspell on Chaz. Jamie is swapping to him. It seems like they're just going to rush down Chaz. That's their only option. Kill Chaz before Vendetta is applied to Alec, because if they don't, right here could be the end of the match. No trinkets, Vendetta pop, perfect crowd control. Method Black come back strong in game 2.
They are going to be able to tie up this series, and we need to talk about what change really was able to grab it for him. Is it strategy? Is it the fact that they do change their Hail Zeke?
Good control with 2 Cyclones now coming in from Tempo Storm.
Yeah, Balanced Druid's receiving a buff in the recent patch. They're definitely a force to be contended with. Let's see how Alec performs. Obviously, Method Black can win similarly with that triple crowd control, but Alec will have the advantage of bear form. more consistently rather than having to trade ice blocks. So Alec needs to get in this bear form before he thinks that an attack is incoming. He can reduce the pressure and be more likely to survive. Method Black move in, setting up crowd control on Alec, but no real cross crowd control onto any of the other members. No advantage just yet. Now Polymorph on Jamie. Looks like they want to go after Alec, but he's already in bear form. He's quite more durable in this position. Let's see what cooldowns Method Black commit. Just the ice form. That trades 1 for 1 with the ice form with the bark skin. Now he gets Cyclone low health. This is great by Chaz, just pausing the game out, making it difficult for Nixie to get his heal over time effects going. Now blinded, they get a trinket. They could swap to him. It's a small map, or they could just push through and finish Alec. Waz on the back foot. They're trying to force him off of Alec, but it's not looking too good. He's dangerously low.
Yeah, Method Black with masterful control in the beginning of that game. Kitty shot now on Nixie. Alex still could be in some trouble. More polymorphs going out onto Jamie in the meantime. Raikou taking a bit of damage. You can see Chaz, he responds. Going to be using Innervate as well as that tree form, empowering his heals. Basically, his team cannot die while that is up, or unless he's crowd controlled, but it doesn't look like they have the crowd control for him, so Method Black's going to be very safe for the time being. In the meantime, Temple Storm's looking to get aggressive with Alex Incarnation, and it doesn't look like they're able to really get too much done.
Sure. Double crowd control, but Jamie's open. He can stop a lot of this. He actually mistimed the grounding totem. That polymorph is secured. Now Alex in the 3v2. He's going to need some help. Chaz is actually getting tunneled down, gets cycloned away. Good crowd control here by Method Black. They're going to commit the vendetta to this attempt. Alex still locked and alone. He's going to be able to handle this. It looks like he's doing just fine. He's recovering perfectly fine. That's a great trade. Now the vendetta threat's out of the way. Tempo Storm can maybe start to get aggressive, maybe not. Alec falls behind all of a sudden with just a kidney shot on Nixie. Jumps back into that bear form and gets cycloned low health. So every time Method Black goes for a kill, they try to pull cooldowns from Tempo Storm. As soon as they estimate that the kill is lost, they then cyclone Alec at low health to make it difficult for Nixie to time his heals. Nice sneaky polymorph here by Raikou. Unfortunately, Alec got pre-iron barked, so he's got damage reduction. He's in bear form and unlikely to die. That was a nice read by Nixie, baiting or expecting the polymorph and just trading a defensive cooldown, getting the diminishing return out of the way. Now Tempo Storm should have an opening to start getting counter pressure.
Yeah, Alec looking to get some damage out right now, finally in the Moonkin form, putting out some pressure. And you look at Chaz's mana, he has to go for a drink, already on 50%, so he's going to be running away. It's going to be up to Alec and Jamie to stop him. DR kitty shot on Alec, just looking to buy Chaz as much time as possible and avoid some damage, but Temple Storm, they know their win condition. They're not going to let Chaz sneak away and get any drinks. Full bash now on Nixie. Do they have the follow-up crowd control? Doesn't look like it. And now they actually managed to get the full poly. Very nicely done by Raikou there, and Alec is forced into the bear form once again. He's going to be tanking out. A lot of this damage still has the bar skin available, but Method Black really struggling to take down Alec despite having really good crowd control.
Yeah, Tempo Storm have basically built a triple healer composition with Jamie backing him up in bear form, making Alec much more tanky on these setups, and it really denies the kills during that crowd control window that Method Black need to win. And Tempo Storm are attritioning their opponents by running Chaz out of mana. Every time Nixie gets crowd control for an extended period of time, guess what he's not doing? He's not casting spells. He's not spending mana. He's actually, in fact, regenerating it. So it's very unlikely that Method Black win this on mana. It's going to be perfect crowd control, a swap and a smoke bomb. If they can bait a trinket from Jamie, they could make that maneuver. Unfortunately, at this point, Tempo Storm have almost completely reset their defensive cooldowns. There's no clear way to victory for Method Black. They need to start whittling down the defense, but they're slowly falling on the back foot with all three members at 50%, and Tempo Storm are looking good with this composition.
Yeah, Tempo Storm just has so much damage. Chaz getting swapped to, almost getting soloed there by Jamie. Ducks out of line of sight, so he's going to be able to keep himself alive as Alec cannot commit any more damage. It's a full blind sap over onto Nixie. Threw out the pre-iron bark on that setup, also threw out his trinket, so Alec does survive that, still having the bar skin. I don't think they've been able to pull that from him the entire game. Chaz now looking for some cyclones, gets interrupted by Alec. Nicely done. Still looking to get that pressure rolling, but Chaz manages to stabilize his team.
All right, Nixie, I think it's just going to get tunneled down, and he actually went out of bear form right before the kidney shot. This is devastating for him. It could cost a lot of momentum. Alec trying to support with Cyclones, gets line of sighted on the boxes. Nixie likely needs to reposition. They managed to get Barkskin and Trinket from Nixie. He's now a vulnerable target, as well as Alec with no Trinket. They can smoke bomb him. So there are clear ways to victory right now for Method Black, but they're on a clock. The mana advantage is going to be towards Tempo Storm. Their composition is more durable. It's built for an attrition fight. So it's up to Method Black to be the aggressors in this map, and they've been catching Nixie out of form. All of these kidney shots are perfect, but they're not cross-crowd controlling Jamie. Every time Nixie's health bounces back up in the stun, that's Jamie healing him, so they need to cross-crowd control Jamie. That could have been a kill right there if they had anything for him, and now they've lost another opportunity.
It's not just Jamie, though. Alec is also just spamming out the regrowth. So Method Black, they have to CC everybody if they want to get a kill. If Alec is just throwing out regrowths, Nixie's not going to die. If Jamie's just spamming out the healing surges, Nixie's not going to die. So Tempo Storm, I think this is a good pick from them. And Method Black, they're going to have to execute perfectly if they want to land a kill, or they're just going to have to wait and extend out the game into dampening where those hybrid heals just aren't as powerful.
Nice pre-Iron Bark by Nixie. Waz wanted to go for that smoke bomb play out of range, but Nixie read it, pre-Iron Barked. Obviously, Nixie plays a rogue, so he may know the win conditions for Method Black just as well as they do, so he read that situation perfectly, and what would have been ultimately maybe the game for their team, Nixie just denies it completely by reading the moves of Method Black. We've now stepped into dampening. Chaz's mana is looking even worse. He's falling behind. Fortunately, he has defensive cooldowns. Here's another crowd control window. Because Tempo Storm didn't Trinket blind instantly, Nixie has to sit through this, and it could open a window to kill Alec if he doesn't respond appropriately. He's being very greedy, not bark skinning in that bear form. Still holding on to it. Nixie sitting through more polymorphs. Waz, though, dipping low. Jamie's constantly been switching to Chaz, and that's really important against a Resto Druid, is to switch targets. That way he has to apply HOTS to everyone on his team. That costs the most amount of mana, and that's the strategy that Tempo Storm are playing for. Run Chaz out of mana, rot the whole team, and get a triple kill. They've been playing perfectly in this matchup, and Method Black are just falling more and more behind.
This has to be devastating for Method Black. They had a really nice crowd control train on Nixie, and Alec, he didn't even bark skin. Not really respecting the incoming damage, especially if Jamie's there to support him with those heals like we kind of been talking about. Chaz finally, he gets out of combat looking for a drink. If he can get that drink channel long enough, he can regenerate his mana. Unfortunately, that was stopped, so won't be able to regen his mana. And now Tempo Storm, they still have that lead, but a nice setup coming in from Method Black. Alex still, though, just not really, he's not in trouble. So he still has the renewal, still has the barskin, still has his trinket. Nixie's still in crowd control, but Alex just fine.
They need to take all three members out of the game at the same time, or else one of their members can save the stun locked. So Jamie saved Alec there. He doesn't even have to trade cooldowns, but these cyclones from Chaz could open windows of opportunity. Raikou trying to get some icicles off the back of this. I don't think they have enough momentum. Nixie has cooldowns. Swapping to Nixie right now, I think, is their only option, but they're just going to go after Alec, maybe try and burst him down with dampening and assisting them. They managed to pull at least Iron Bark from Nixie. Now Alec is trying to deny drinks, but if he overextends too far, that could be an opportunity to kill him. I really like this from Chaz. Perhaps he should have been trying to do this earlier into the match, but the map is not playing to their advantage, and I believe this was map selection by Tempo Storm, so this is a nice pick. Pick the small map so the Druid can't drink, play for the long game, run him out of mana, and unless Chaz gets a drink, it's looking worse and worse.
Yeah, it's not looking too good, but Method Black, they have some pressure here. Nice setup coming in from Chaz. Cyclone on Alec into a bash on the Nixie. Kidney shot now on Alec, and a full Cyclone. Jamie, like you said, though, he's completely open. He drops the grounding totem, denies a lot of damage, throwing out the heals. Alex should be fine, but still good pressure coming in from Method Black. And like I said, if they can hold on just a little bit longer, dampening really favors their composition in terms of limiting the amount of off heals that Alec and Jamie provide for their team.
They've got a strong composition in the meta. They're playing to the strategy of just running the attrition fight, run them out of mana. They picked the perfect map. It's so difficult as a healer on this small map to get far enough away and actually sit down and drink, which regenerates your mana. Unless Tempo Storm throw the game, this is looking more and more in the bag for them, and then they'll move to match point against Method Black. Blind on Nixie, trades out Trinket, fair and equivalent trade. Chaz is falling so far behind. They need to get a kill soon, but they're just not able to find enough damage. Alec tanks it out. Perhaps if he's greedy, Alec can go down. There's a smoke bomb available. If he is greedy, he will lose. They go after Nixie. They catch him out of form. This is another win condition, but they have to kill him. What is that damage? Out of nowhere, Method Black pull a victory out of what should have been certain defeat. Obviously, Tempo Storm want to play this out. Chaz has no mana. Everybody on his team is very low, so they're going to keep going for triple pressure and potentially get a cross kill. However, I would say it is pretty unlikely.
Yeah, Waz, he has a Cloak of Shadow, so they have those immunities. Chaz really has no mana left. And Tempo Storm, they kind of threw this game away. Alec and Jamie, they got way too tunnel visioned on the mana. They left Nixie wide open. That's the only reason why he was staying alive. And at this point, it's looking pretty hopeless for Tempo Storm. Alex slowly and surely going to go down, and I just don't think they have the damage to close this one out.
I don't know. Oh, Chaz got a drink. I think that's enough mana with tree form.
Yeah.
I think it is.
We've been wrong before, but
I know. That's why I'm not counting them out.
I think the Broccoli Boys should be able to do it here.
Yeah, the Tree of Life is.
So what we're calling that now, Broccoli?
Well, as soon as Alec is.
That's old.
Yeah, as soon as Alex.
That's old?
That's old.
Yeah, that's
Broccoli
old.
form? Come on.
No, well, I know the form, but we call it broccoli.
It was in the tooltip. I think Sid's a new kid.
Yeah. Well, what I was saying is, as soon as Alex in this position where he has to be in bear form, they no longer have a chance to really
Always.
A fitting final resting place.
Why every week?
I just dropped the mic.
It's my line, okay? It's my line. The one thing
I like your line. I like it.
The one thing I want to see Alec do in the late game is, well, first Jamie should attack Waz. When Chaz is Zoom and the game is so late and dampening, Jamie should tunnel Waz because he gets 100% uptime and can do the most amount of damage. Alec should save his Astral Power and save it only for Starfall, which is super effective at stopping drinks. If Alec saves Starfall and Jamie tunnels down the Rogue, what can Chaz do? He's in checkmate at that point. He can't drink and Waz is taking too much damage. We see Waz and Jamie taking an initial exchange as Method Black have actually changed their targeting in this game, realizing the Boomkin in bear form, too tanky. Jamie off-healing him, not going to be enough to really get a kill. But if you go after Jamie and save Counterspell for Alec, you can remove 3 members from the game. And I like this target swap from Method Black.
Well, it can't get much worse than Alec, honestly. They weren't able to punish him really at all in that last game, so I think it's smart. But Jamie on that Enhancement Shaman, very, very tanky. He has the Astral Shift, which is very powerful. He's playing Dwarf, which is very effective against the Assassination Rogue. It can remove all of the bleeds and poison effects, so he can keep himself alive with that. But so far, Method Black, they're finding a lot more pressure with this new target.
Yeah, Jamie on the back foot for some time. Alec's support on Jamie is an instant cast. He has a cast Regrowth, he has a cast Cyclone. Those are interruptible. Whereas when Jamie supports Alec, Healing Surge is instant. It's not interruptible. It has to be crowd controlled, and it's much easier to execute. I also think another strategy for Method Black is to just put all their crowd control on Jamie and Alec, never CC Nixie, and try and burn his mana down the same way that Chaz is. If they could do that, they could tie mana in dampening and maybe get a kill through that method.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. You know, Waz maybe doesn't provide as much consistent damage as Jamie, but he has that reduction in healing with the wound poison, which is very, very effective. So it definitely could be an option for them. It'd be an interesting strategy to see. There's a bash on Waz. He trinkets out of that, wants to keep the pressure rolling. Now full bash on Nixie. Another setup here on Jamie with a full kidney shot, but a nice beam coming in from Alec. That's going to be silencing up Raikou as well as Chaz. But still, Jamie getting bursted down. The CC hasn't ended yet. Still a Cyclone on a Nixie. Jamie throwing out the heals. Astral Shift on him. There's a full polymorph, and Temple Storm could be in a lot of trouble.
See that counterspell icon next to Alec? He was just kicked earlier. This was a great setup by Method Black. It banked them all the vital defensive cooldowns that they need to get from Jamie to get a kill moving forward. There's a massive window if they can execute like that once again. The only way that Tempo Storm can play around it is if Alec can fake cast Raiku's counterspell, fake cast the Shadow Step of Waz. If Alec can fake cast that interrupt, get the Cyclones to save Jamie, they will be able to survive. Whoa. What was that damage? Out of nowhere, Raikou on the back foot, having to ice block. Waz now getting swapped to. He has to Cloak of Shadows, and Tempo Storm, they're in a position now where they can take out Waz, and suddenly that win condition I thought that Method Black had is starting to slip away.
Yeah, Waz still on the retreat. Raikou behind the pillar as well. Chaz has to catch up at this point in the game, but it looks like Temple Storm, they're going to be playing, or sorry, Method Black, they're going to be playing full defense, just trying to avoid some damage. But Temple Storm, they realize the pressure they have. They're pushing in. Waz, no evasion, no Cloak of Shadows, no really nothing available. Chaz channels out a full Tranquility there. That's going to be very, very huge. And now Nixie, he trinkets out of the blind into a cheap shot. If there's any follow-up from Raikou, this is so scary for Jamie. He's all alone. Counterspell on Alec. Beautiful setup coming in from Method Black, but Jamie with his off heals keeping himself alive, and a nice pre-Iron Bark, I believe, from Nixie is just going to be so strong.
Yeah, that pre-Iron Bark play was well done by Nixie, but they managed to get both Jamie's Trinket and Nixie's Trinket. Unfortunately, Waz isn't actually playing Smoke Bomb. I guess he's going for an Honor Talent to get more sustained damage, as he knows his game is likely to go into dampening, and I think Method Black could play the mana game. They make a swap. They catch Nixie out of form. A massive mistake by Nixie could cost them the series. Barkskin will stabilize Jamie's support, gets Nixie a second opportunity to stay in the match, but if he makes mistakes like that again, he could throw the game for his team.
Yeah, I don't think Jamie and Alec are going to be leaving Nixie alone like they did in Dalaran Sewers. They were so far ahead, so that's got to be a nightmare situation for them once again, seeing Nixie all alone. Luckily,
double
Jamie's
bash
back, but a nice bash on Waz. Do they have the damage to take him down? Iron Bark gets thrown out. Waz on 1%, barely surviving. Alex putting out so much damage. A nice kick on Cyclone from Wazo. Now a big swap on Nixie once again. Here comes the kidney shot with an interrupt on Alec, but Jamie just free casting and easily keep Nixie alive.
Yeah, they didn't take Jamie out of the fight during that stunlock, so he just saves Nixie. Waz now on the back foot, and Tempo Storm's damage has been much more consistent this game than Dalaran. They've obviously warmed up. Double Solar Beam. Alec gets roasted. Tempo Storm take this to game 5.
And what a nice solar beam to end that one from Alec right there, hitting Chaz right on his cast right there, as Waz didn't have his...
Storm all the way through this bracket. Will they be able to take out one of the most dominant teams of the year and get that much closer to BlizzCon? Are they going to have to sit here and watch the next series and just hope that Skill Cap Red choke?
We'll have to see. I expect Temple Storm to honestly play this very defensively. I expect them to just sit on this large pillar, just force Method Black to push in if they want to get any sort of pressure and momentum, and not go into the midfield where Raikou really does have that Frost Mage advantage.
Yeah, right now Tempo Storm in a good group hug position, but they're all locked in crowd control. That's going to force a cooldown trade, potentially a kill unless Jamie can get some off heals rolling. He manages to get out of that polymorph, toss out a couple healing surges, and even just a few of those is enough to stall out the match. But you can see how much more of a dangerous situation that was for Alec. He had to trade his entire defensive arsenal because Method Black isolated him. Even with good positioning, they were able to take and pull all of those cooldowns. Now they can go onto him with another clean setup like that and potentially do it again. Will Method Black be able to race against the clock is the question. Tempo Storm have already shown that they can throw games away. Nixie hasn't been playing perfectly on Dalaran or Runes of Lordaeron. He gets caught out of form, and those kind of mistakes is going to be the things that Method Black look to punish. So it's a race to see if they're going to choke. They make a swap on Nixie. They're trying to bait a trinket on this and then blind him and switch to Alec. Nixie's being greedy. It was a very greedy play to not actually trade Barskin on that stun lock, but without Alec or Jamie taken out of the fight, they can just support him, and he kind of gets away with that.
Yeah, it's not super greedy, honestly. If you have two hybrids just healing you up, I think Nixie was, right in his mind there to not throw away any sort of defensives. Nice little bash over onto Waz now. It looks like he's going to be using his trinket, trying to get away as Chaz gets interrupted. Jamie using that Ascendance. Those are the two scary moments for Method Black. You see Jamie has that Ascendance up, that makes all of his damage range. Alec, when he uses his Incarnation, he gets that armor on his character, which increases the amount of damage he does as well. Chaz normally responds with that Incarnation Tree of Life, where he goes into the tree form and increases his healing. So Method Black, they realize when they are in trouble and when they can get ahead.
Good triple crowd control. That forces Jamie to trinket. So by switching to Jamie, Alec has to cast his utility. He gets interrupted twice in a row by Method Black. Good interrupt usage, good crowd control on Nixie. Now they've got trinket off the healer. They've got trinket off the enhancement shaman. They've got a clear route to victory. Vendetta up in 14. Method Black need to cleanly set this up for a kill on Jamie. I think they're going to be walking away with the series.
Raikou putting nice crowd control over onto Jamie as they try to get some damage rolling on Alec, but unfortunately not able to find the pressure. Now Waz once again in a little bit of trouble. We saw Waz be a little bit more aggressive with his defensives in the last game with the evasion and the Cloak of Shadows, but he's holding on to those now. Alex still in some trouble. Kidney shot on Jamie. Nixie gets caught into the cheap shot. 3-on-1 situation here as they make a swap over onto Jamie, actually. He's going to be taking most of this damage, but healing himself up, running away in Ghost Wolf, and it looks like Raiku's not really going to be able to connect too much damage.
If they can keep Alec and Nixie out, no, Jamie's just able to kite away and heal himself. If they don't have Jamie locked in kidney shot, I think it's almost impossible for him to go. Maybe if they can extend it long enough to run him out of Maelstrom. Now a kidney shot with a Cyclone, but Iron Bark connected by Nixie. Will Iron Bark be enough is then the question. It appears to be the case with Cyclones, but Jamie gets Cycloned at low health. Method Black waiting for crowd control. And they get it. They get the full polymorph. Method Black have got immaculate crowd control in this position. I thought the kill was lost maybe 10 seconds ago, but they've just kept the chain rolling. Unfortunately, they drop it in the final seconds, and potentially Jamie hangs on by a thread. Now getting counter pressure on Waz, bashing him up and dishing out a ton of pain. Cyclone on Nixie. I'm very surprised to see Jamie survive in that position. That was perfect crowd control for the better part of 30 seconds, and it's still continuing.
Yeah, he's still in a lot of trouble, though. Actually, he has the Astral Shift up now, still trying to kite away. Nixie has his HOTS rolling on him. Full Cyclone now on Chaz, nicely done by Alec. They're trying to set something up on Waz, trying to get some counter pressure. We need to see Temple Storm get some pressure and momentum on their side of the field because Method Black is bossing all over him.
Solar Beam Bash combo. Nice play from Tempo Storm. Gets them Cloak of Shadows from Waz. That's going to be the plays that Tempo Storm move for. Use that Solar Beam to interrupt Chaz on a healer or Cyclone, bash up the Rogue and try and burst him down. But here comes crowd control from Method Black. They get Nixie's Trinket in this attempt, which is a vital cooldown. Now they're looking to get Jamie's with the follow-up. They're just cycloning, pausing the game out, trying to hold on to mana and extend the game as long as they can. But I believe Nixie has a heavy mana lead at this point. It's hard to tell until he shifts out of bear form, but he wants to be in bear form to avoid polymorph. Jamie caught in a stun, but not long enough to really find a kill. So now Tempo Storm need to start getting aggressive. All the crowd control diminishing returns are used up. Alec is getting on top of Chaz, trying to get some pressure going, but he gets controlled. Method Black are really good at this diffusing. This is where the map pick comes into play. Chaz can run so far away, and this is where Jamie and Alec overextended on Dalaran and through the match. Nixie got baited into the middle of the map and polymorphed. I think this is happening again if they can force Jamie's trinket. Nice counterspell. They get Jamie's trinket. Perfect setup from Method Black. If they can do that one more time, they can close out the game.
Yeah, but look at how sad Tempo Storm is. Chaz, he sat down, he used that drink and regenerated his mana to basically a full reset. Has 100% mana at this point in the game, and that was one of the win conditions for Tempo Storm. So they really need to be on top of stopping those drinks from Chaz. Unfortunately, this map, like we said, it really plays into the favor of Method Black. Now a nice little setup coming in from Tempo Storm. They're trying to get something rolling on Waz, but Jamie, realizing he's in a little bit of trouble, retreating to the pillar once again. He just wants to overextend Waz in these situations, get that pressure rolling, purge off the hots from Chaz, and this is where they can really see some momentum going. But a nice setup now being reversed by Method Black.
Alec trinkets to save Jamie. Will he get interrupted? He gets interrupted. He doesn't fake the counterspell. Nice play by Raikou, but they drop the chain. Nixie connects Iron Bark, and Jamie is likely to survive in this position. Method Black had great cross-crowd control, but they dropped the ball, locking Nixie out. If they could have kept him locked down just a little bit longer, Jamie could be dead in this position. Now Nixie's trinket is starting to rotate back up, but they could swap to him before that point, and they're trying to do so. Jamie's right next to him in that group hug formation, just tossing out heals. He's going to survive the swap, only having to trade Barkskin. But if they can bait his trinket with blind and swap to him again, he could fall down. Moving into dampening, Chaz has the mana lead due to the map advantage. He's able to easily escape and get drinks, and with that map advantage, I think Method Black are going to take this.
And look, you can see Chaz, he uses the Tree of Life, so that's a big healing cooldown. Alec is going to have that Incarnation coming up in 30 seconds. This is an opportunity for Tempo Storm to get some pressure rolling. Kidney shot now on Nixie as they make another big swap on him. Jamie there to support, though, uses the grounding totem, throwing out the off heals, and Nixie should survive with that, not trading out his trinket. It's a big victory for Tempo Storm, and now it's time for Tempo Storm to get aggressive.
Nixie has been caught in far too many polymorphs in this game, and I think ultimately that is going to cost his team the match. Jamie in a 3-on-1 trying to kite away, caught in a stun, no trinket. Let's see how Tempo Storm decide to respond. Nixie trinket Cyclone. Now he does not have trinket for blind. That's going to be devastating moving forward deep into dampening. The momentum is completely in favor of Method Black. Tempo Storm needed a decent run in this tournament to make sure that they could secure their spot to BlizzCon. Otherwise, Skill Kept Red is going to have an opportunity to surpass them moving through the rest of the tournament. There's a lot on the line for Tempo Storm.
Yeah, it's not over yet, though. Nixie's mana is sort of stabilized with Chaz. Chaz expending a lot of mana to heal through the Boomkin and the Enhancement Shaman damage. Another setup here onto Jamie, full blind on Nixie. He has no trinket. Jamie in a lot of trouble right now, trades out the Astral Shift, but I don't think it's going to be enough. The follow-up bash onto Nixie. Jamie keeping himself alive, but a nice Garrote coming in from Waz. Is he going to be able to kite away? He needs to get away from Raikou, but Waz might be able to just solo him in this situation. Unfortunately for Method Black, Jamie's just so tanky and durable. He's able to keep himself alive until that Iron Bar comes in from Nixie that will ultimately keep him alive.
Cyclone on Chaz. Waz trying to get some evasive maneuvers and avoid being attacked while his healer's crowd control. Nice defensive play from Waz. He's always able to kick between defense and offense quite effectively. It's what makes him such a devastating opponent. Now they basically got a huge win condition with no trinket on Nixie, no trinket or Astral Shift on Jamie. Vendetta available, Ice Form available. Method Black have their biggest punch. They just need to swing it properly here, and they should be walking away with game number 5. Let's see if they can execute. Jamie's trying to counter pressure. He's got those Spirit Wolves out. That's going to boost his damage quite a bit here on Waz. Chaz needs to be ready. There's the crowd control. They need to make sure Alec doesn't get any casts off. Alec is actually trying to counter pressure rather than peel. Goes for the Cyclone, gets it on Chaz. This counter pressure forces Waz to trade, but he's got cooldowns to trade, and Jamie doesn't. Waz will always win that race. Nixie was able to sneak in Iron Bark, though. Jamie will restabilize. There's still a 20-second window if Waz can stay on target here and get some nice crowd control. Alec is trying to find a kill with this Incarn rolling. Another Cyclone on Chaz. Waz the target. He got roasted on Runes of Lordaeron, but looks to be stabilizing here with a defensive kidney shot on Alec. Method Black know they have this in the bag if they can extend it a little bit longer, trying to play defensive. Waz is really the only opening. As long as he's aware of that, doesn't throw the game away. I think Method Black are going to walk away with this. I like this from Waz. Just go across the map. The Enhancement Shaman snared is not going to catch up with you, so this is good by Method Black. I think they should have done this sooner.
That's what they needed to pull, though. They needed Jamie to commit the Ascendance, and once that happens, they can run away safely and freely. Jamie now reconnecting, gets caught into the kidney shot immediately. Waz looking to get counter pressure here. Nice dash over onto Chaz. Alec trying to keep his team in the game, slow down some of that crowd control coming in from Method Black. Waz ultimately is the one that loses the exchange. He has to run away. Once again, the Assassination Rogue without those cooldowns is very, very vulnerable. Now that he has the Vanish up, he should be much more confident in pushing in and trying to close out this game.
All right, at this point, it's actually anyone's match. Nixie has Trinket for Blind, Jamie has Astral Shift, Mana's not looking too good for Chaz. It's anyone's match at this point. With Dampening ramping up, it's going to be more and more difficult. Jamie locked down and crowd control, Nixie as well. He's being greedy by not trinketing this Blind. Greedy move, he trinkets it late, but he's quite far behind. Chaz is getting counter-pressured, gets cycloned at low health by Alec. Nice play there. Now they switch their attention to Waz, trying to push him over the edge as well. Jamie uses his stone form, removes all those bleeds, but he didn't save it for Vendetta. I think it would have been a much better trade by Jamie to use that during Vendetta. Now that's a huge opening potentially. Waz, huge map, kite across it, try and isolate the target. This is exactly what Method Black need to do. Pull the triple healer group hug apart, bait them into bad positions. Nixie's going to take the opportunity to drink though. They're trying to punish Alec while he's overextended, but they can't. They're falling behind. Dampening's ramping up. Things are becoming increasingly difficult for both sides.
Yeah, this is a very tense moment. Raikou taking a little bit of pressure. He's forced to retreat behind the pillar as well. Chaz looking for the tranquility. Unfortunately, not really doing too much. Alex pushes in. Nice bash on Chaz. Raikou getting low. Might be forced into his first ice block. Good pressure from Tempo Storm. This is looking scary for Method Black.
That's a 2-for-1. They got evasion and ice block. Jamie Trinket Astral Shift. Now there's a kill window for both teams at this point. Could be a potential cross kill with Dampening ramping up to such a critical mass. Chaz locked down in crowd control. Jamie staying on target. Waz running for his life. Incarn up in 24 seconds. That's what Alec needs to bank a kill and end this match. Chaz needs to be ready for that and have Tree of Life, but he doesn't have Trinket. If he gets cycloned on that Tree of Life, his team is just going to disappear from the arena. And Tempo Storm, down a man with Nixie healing, is going to take out Method Black. Everybody's in trouble at this point. Dampening is so high, they've got one opportunity to get a kill here and now on Jamie. They interrupt Alec, but they don't lock down Nixie. Waz is now on the back foot, and he could easily fall as both teams are in trouble. Alec gets locked on his support. Jamie's dipping low. He's in middle map. Alec goes for a bash, but that Ray of Frost gets wind sheared. Good denial by Jamie. Nixie desperately trying to recover. He needs 4 more seconds. Incarn's up for Alec. Chaz is fully cycloned. They managed to pull Tree of Life before Incarn. Tempo Storm have a massive win condition as long as they don't throw.
Yeah, Jamie caught into the kidney shot behind the pillar. That's the problem with chasing Waz. He gets you caught into those stuns. But in the meantime, Raikou under a lot of pressure from Alex, spamming out the Solar Wrath, gets locked out and deleted out of the game. Tempo Storm with their 3-man roster doing the impossible, taking down Method Black.
And you know, this is just such a tough week for Tempo. Is will Skill Cap Red be able to sink the Armada, or will we see? I need to make sure.
Yeah, I'm happy you got it out. Happy you got it out.
You can do that.
But so Spanish Armada is quite an interesting team. Like, these guys are always playing like kind of different people from the Spanish community, playing the best comps they can. They've had Crons in there, they've played a bit of RMP, now swapping over to the God comp. But like Sid said, definitely going for the tanky strategies. We're watching to get that Shadow Priest, get his edge up, get that full purple bar so that he has the 20% damage reduction early in the game.
Yeah, Skullcap Red tried to go after Tharkum to punish before he could get to full insanity, but that opportunity's lost. They're now going to switch targets to the Mage, likely for most of this game, unless Tharkum casts Void Eruption. I think in this matchup, he should basically take that off his bar. He wants to be as tanky as possible, drag the fight on, and run Zuniaki out of mana. Zuniaki, on the other hand, running Dark Archangel, so he's looking for big burst. Nice life grip onto Akin's, away from that freezing trap. Good teamwork. Hong, Mage, Kun falling behind. Full trap secured. Adam Rex was able to sneak that in, but Mass Dispel, Trinket overlapped with Mass Dispel. That's a huge misplay from the Spanish Armada. Skullcap Red have an opening.
Yep, and even though this composition coming out of Spanish Armada is quite tanky, a lot of versatility on it, you can't really afford those mistakes against a comp like Jungle Cleave. The reason we see so many Jungle Cleaves, as we see a setup coming out of the God comp here, the reason we see so many of these Jungle Cleaves is because of those healer nerfs we talked about at the start of the tournament. Those really do hurt against compositions that do a lot of pressure. We see big damage coming into Hong right now, struggling, using the Temporal Shield and the Iron Bark overlap on the side of Spanish Armada. This next trap could be deadly.
Freezing trap secured. They need to force an ice block with this. They've set up everything perfectly here for the side of Skill-Capped Red, but just not enough damage. Now the damage finally coming through, but is it too late is the question. They really need to pull an ice block off the back of this, but they're not. Nice fear by Zuniaki. It's extending the crowd control just a little bit longer. Will it be enough? They get the ice block. After all of that hard-fought effort, they finally get that defensive cooldown they needed during that setup. Now during the next, they're looking to try and force the second, or if they can do it soon enough, they might be able to kill him while he's on hypothermia and unable to ice block. Zuniaki, though, locked down in crowd control. He's been playing it very aggressive. It's exposed himself in center field to a lot of crowd control. control, which is now putting his team behind. Adam Rex down at half, but looking to be recovering just fine. Let's see if they can get that crowd control on Akins. They need to get that Mass Dispel. They need to save Inros for it. There's the stun. Adam Rex looking to nail. He's trying to pre-Mass Dispel. Tharkums is just lining up Mass Dispel over and over and over. Manages to get the Psychic Scream, but now he's open for a Freezing Trap. He pre-Iron Barks the Freezing Trap. That's going to be absorbing a lot of damage, but it may not be enough as Cassidy leads the charge for his team. Ice Barrier absorbs some hits. They go for the DR Bash. They're trying to commit all in to force the second Ice Block. Hong blinks away to safety, connects a huge heal. Stabilizing potentially. There's still a lot of damage. Now caught into the stun. Ice Block his last line of defense, but he can't Cold Snap. Is he going to be able to trade it out? Ice Block now available. Zuniaki's been doing an insane job with his mana, actually beating the Druid, and Skill Cap Red look phenomenal.
Yeah, they're looking fantastic, and that's one of the advantages of the Discipline Priest against this God comp. There's not so much high sustained damage. The Zuniaki's able to get those atonements out, get out the big damage to help heal efficiently, and his mana is actually better than Atkins at this point in the game, despite the fact there's so much crowd control coming out of the Jungle Cleave. You can see Zuniaki now chasing for the Fear, gets punished though. Tharkum able to counteract that one. Atkins needs to get away from that Discipline Priest though, very dangerous positioning. Adam Rex going to be looking to land a trap as Atkins kites away, uses the Iron Bark, once again overlap with that Temporal Shield though, so this is going to be a big opening for Skill Capped.
Yeah, they need to make sure they Mass Dispel preemptive cast here, gets the trap instantly. Nice job by Tharkum, but Zuniaki with the follow-up. Great positioning by Skill Capped Red. Do they have the damage now to force that? Penances are flying in aggressively. They push them back with a stun on Cassidy that allows them to hold on to that vital second Ice Block and develop a lot of counter pressure, forcing Survival Instincts. More crowd control on Zuniaki. Good counter pressure from the Spanish Armada, finally showing some signs of life.
Yeah, Mage Druid 101 though, they need to stop overlapping that Iron Bark with the Temporal Shield. Those are the big 45-second cooldowns. If they keep overlapping those, they will lose this game on Ice Blocks. They only have one left. Atkins does have the Trinket back though. You can see he's able to get a little bit of mana as the Ice Block, but they have the Temporal Shield for this. Well played by Spanish Armada. They should be able to survive this crowd control chain.
If Zuniaki can get over there for a second screen, but he's Frost Nova'd in midfield. Good Frost Nova by Hong, denying the follow-up, allowing Akins to safely sit through that crowd control without trading too many important defensive cooldowns like the Ice Block. Good crowd control once again initiated by the Spanish Armada. Hong gets interrupted on the Ebon Bolt, but now they can't stop the polymorphs. Cassidy, though, is just counter-pressuring amidst all of this crowd control on his healer, tearing into Hong, now tossing a couple of off-fields. They're going to stabilize. Zuniaki and their team want to push in, force that final Ice Block, making a swap to Tharkum, trying to force maybe a beta cooldown. Actually, a lot of damage. This is very unexpected. Onto the edge of Insanity, Shadow Priest. They don't manage to get Dispersion. They swap back to the Mage, potentially. Actually, it seems like they're pretty content hitting the Shadow Priest. Dark Archangel boosting their damage just high enough to force a lot of pressure. Bash on Akins, Poly on Zuniaki. Both teams isolated, but Spanish Armada seem to be falling behind much more significantly.
Yeah, I mean, this is great play coming out of Skill Cap Red. They recognize that they're also winning on mana amongst every other win condition here, and by swapping between the two, look at Atkins. He's just burning through that blue mana bar. He's going to run out momentarily here, and he will not have mana to heal his partners, but he's sitting down for a drink right now. They're able to just walk on top of that. Zuniaki gets the Fear, and both of these guys are falling behind. Dampening starting to stack up. Sid, Spanish Armada are not having a good first game.
This is easily the second Ice Block. Good crowd control from Skill Capped Red. They have every single win condition for this. Hibernate out of the crowd control. Misplay by Akins, getting caught out of form. Hong is still in trouble. How's he going to survive? Akins doesn't have Iron Bark for 5 more seconds. They need to hang on just a little bit longer. They've managed to do it, but they've actually swapped to Tharkun. They managed to pull Iron Bark onto a different target. Now they can bounce back to the Mage. Akins is completely tapped on mana. We've just stepped into dampening. Dark Archangel popped. Zuniaki's ready to push for a win, but Hong denies it. Temporal Shield bounces him back to full. Cassidy leads the charge. Freezing Trap midair. Hong blinks on top of it. Nice play from Hong. That keeps his team in this fight a little bit longer, but how much longer can they stay in it?
I mean, that was an important play from Hong. They actually lost their Atkins, didn't have Trinket. There was no more Ice Blocks. They needed that Trappy, and he landed it, but still the mana bar is down on the Restoration Druid. The only win condition here for Spanish Armada is Zuniaki playing that Relentless Talent. If they can land the Polymorph, they could suddenly turn around this game, but it's looking difficult. Both the DPS on Skill Capped have their Trinkets. They're trying to set up something desperately onto Cassidy, but to no avail. He blinks behind a pillar, heals himself up, should be fine.
Yeah, Zuniaki going through a lot of crowd control, but with Cassidy's off healing, it's enough. Now Cassidy jumps back into the fight. Huge ferocious bite. Hong needs a couple more seconds for that temporal, but as you pointed out, Healing Stat, they've been overlapping time and time again, Iron Bark and temporal. Both of those cooldowns should usually never be overlapped unless you need to. In that situation, it was not necessary. Akin's panicked and traded it out. Now there's a huge opening. There's no defense. Hong could easily fall. Penance flies in. The Void Shift from Tharkum. Tharkum MVP play there, but they switch to him. He's dangerously low. He's forced to disperse. Akin's is in a full freezing trap. They switch back to Hong. Skill Cap Red are all over the place. They came to play in game number 1. Skill Cap Red are gunning for it. They want that BlizzCon spot.
And in 1588, the Spanish Armada was formed with the sole purpose to invade England, especially considering the track record of some of the players on Skill Cap Red. Skill Cap Red gonna have the first one in the bag. Will they be able to follow up here and find themselves on match point?
All right, I'm curious to see if they're going to open on Tharkum and try and punish him before he gets to full insanity. Cassidy opens up. Tharkum Trinket fears Cassidy and goes for crowd control with Polymorph on Zuniaki. I mean, this is good crowd control, but where's the damage? Finally stunning Adam Rex, but now Cassidy's out of crowd control. He can heal. He's trying to fake cast the counter spells, try and toss out off heal in the meantime. Tharkum falling behind, still not at full insanity, taking 20% more damage, making his way slowly but surely to the top. And like you said, Spanish Armada are playing much more like a Warlords of Draenor style of God comp, where it's control 3 members, burst 1. But in this specific matchup, it might be better for them to attack 3 targets and try and win on mana, because every time they go for triple crowd control, Cassidy off heals, much the same way as the Enhancement Shaman, or they break up the CC and then Zuniaki can save his team. So I think Spanish Armada need to change their strategy on such a large map.
Yeah, and the other advantage, of course, of hitting Zuniaki is that he'll be constantly slowed. It'll be harder for him to land those follow-up Psychic Streams on the crowd control chain that they keep landing on Atkins. So there's definitely a few advantages to that play. I actually think the map is not going to help them too much to that end, though, because, of course, Zuniaki has these big pillars. But you can see Atkins is trying to use it to his advantage by just constantly max ranging and avoiding the incoming crowd control.
I think at this point they should try to kite to a different position. Playing at the pillar can't be an advantage to the Wizard Cleave against a melee Cleave. Counterspell secured on Zuniaki, but it's Spanish Armada that are on the back foot with a full freezing trap secured. Tharkum on the run, manages to secure a double Psychic Scream. Cassidy in a 3-on-1, but stuns up the Mage, interrupts Tharkum, and Cassidy completely diffuses that what would otherwise be a stressful situation completely on his own. Zuniaki is slowly but securing the mana lead, trying to cross the map for Psychic Scream. They need to stop Zuniaki. Nice Frostbolt. That's going to pin Zuniaki down in midfield. Good awareness by Hong. Akins is trying to kite, but he's getting rooted by Adam Rex. Adam Rex is trying to snipe a long-range trap. This positioning in the opening is much more favorable to the Spanish Armada if they can keep rotating around. Skill Capped Red are forced to hit a different target in this matchup. This map is too large, chasing the Mage isn't working, so they're actually going after the Shadow Priest.
Yeah, they are, and they're really struggling to get the full crowd control chains. That's what we were talking about. If they can keep having Hong slow down Zuniaki as he tries to cross the map, this will be another time where he maybe tries to go for it. Then they can deny the crowd control on Atkins. The next step, though, is to try get a little bit more offensive themselves. You can see Zuniaki just mind controlling Tharkum in the back line, really denying any pressure coming out of Spanish Armada here, and still Atkins is the one losing out on the mana pool, down to 50% already in this game set.
There's absolutely no counter pressure from Spanish Armada. They're basically just staying alive but slowly dying. They're losing on every front once again in game number 2. They just don't have the pressure they need. They need to be doing more damage. They need to be switching targets. They've got Zuniaki in midfield. They're finally starting to at least tickle him a little bit with these Mind Flays, but tickling is not going to win you the game against Zuniaki. Tons of damage. Hong dips low. Ice Block traded out. Mass Dispel gets sniped out. Hong on the run. Akin's desperately trying to pick him up without having to overlap Ironbark, but 2 members are low. Tharkum MVP Vampiric Embrace that allows him to heal his team through damage. That should restabilize that cross pressure on 2 targets. Nice trade by Tharkum, but they're still just inevitably falling behind.
Yeah, one thing I really like from Adam Rex is that whenever he goes for the trap on Atkins, he's also making sure to put the root on the Restoration Druid first, which firstly avoids him shifting it, and secondly avoids the life grip coming out of Tharkum. So that's a really nice niche play coming in there from Adam Rex on each time. He's then able to reconnect over to his kill target, Hong, in most of these situations. And I mean, the defensive gameplay from Spanish Armada has been good this game. They've barely used Trinket. They've only used 1 Ice Block. They've been doing a good job of surviving, but like you say, Sid, they've been really struggling offensively. Zuniaki's constantly in this midfield, and now they're starting to punish him, but they're just struggling to get out enough damage to actually get the kill.
I just don't think Tharkum is going to do enough pressure without going into Void Form, but if he goes into Void Form, then he's a vulnerable target, so he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Like, he's the one that's open right now, but he can't deal enough counter pressure to force anything, really. Akin's in a freezing trap. They swap to Tharkum, but I think they would like to be on the Mage in this position. Tharkum not taking too much damage there throughout that crowd control. Well-timed innervate by Akins. That's getting him a lot of free healing here. It's very critical that he gets all these regrowths for free if he wants to stay at least into dampening. Zuniaki securing a further and further lead in that regard. Dark Archangel boosting the damage. Nice interrupt. He can't block for one more second. Big ferocious bite. Hong's being greedy. Oh, looks like the greed might just be good in this situation. Temporal Shield is ticking. It's going to heal him back for quite a significant amount. Akins is still crowd control. Zuniaki moving in. They need to deny him. They polymorph him. They deny the fear, but they get the freezing trap. Akins has to trinket. His team's still under massive pressure in game number 2. This map not favoring them in any regard at this point.
Yeah, I mean, they're really struggling to get anything going. They are starting to get some crowd control over onto Zuniaki, but the damage just isn't there. I mean, to their credit, they did a great job surviving that. They stabilized, they rotated the Temporal Shield and the Ironbark nicely, so they're now topping off Hong in the situation. But Atkins needs to start going for drinks, I think, and it's going to be really difficult because the unrelenting pressure coming out of this Jungle Cleave. Ooh. If he can use the map for it, that could be a way of them getting back into this game.
Nice premonition from Zuniaki. That's going to break up the polymorph chain. Now they can get aggressive and in the face of Spanish Armada and close out game number 2. Psychic Scream gets mass dispelled. Great mass dispel from Tharkum. His defensive utility is great, but the pressure just isn't there. He's got Vampiric Embrace rolling. That saves any major defensive cooldowns from Hong. He's only got one more ice block. Crowd control still sinking on Akins. They need a couple more seconds of damage. Cassidy's making his way over. A big bite could close the game out if Hong isn't careful. Blinks back to Akins. Ironbark absorbs the damage. Looks like Hong is going to survive through this setup, but for how much longer? We've just stepped into dampening. The mana lead is getting more significantly in favor of skill capped red. The momentum, the damage, the crowd control, everything in favor. I don't see really any openings right now for the Spanish Armada. Skill Cap Red are walking all over him.
Spanish Armada just need to get one good offensive go where they can force the 2 melees on Skill Cap Red behind the pillar. Then maybe Atkins can go sit down for a drink, and this game could completely change face if they can set that up. But you can see Zuniaki constantly unrelenting, chasing after Atkins, trying to get it. He gets caught up into the crowd control, though. Good protection by Tharkum, who will also land the Master Spell over on that full trap. They're trying to get some pressure onto Adam Rex. This is good. They force the exhilaration. They're starting to create plays here, Sid.
Hong in trouble. Ironbark is absorbing a lot of this damage, but will that be enough, or will they have to overlap? Hong recovers. I think he's not running the Ice Form talent. He's not running that combo. I'm wondering if that is a mistake on Hong's part. Maybe he doesn't want to get purged off, but that would cost Zuniaki's mana. He's got heal over time effects to protect it from purge. I feel like that's a mistake on Hong's part to not be running that 1 minute cooldown burst, especially the way that they're playing the matchup. They're not doing sustained damage, they're going for setups. And we can see Hong trying to fake cast the premonition of Zuniaki there. Tharkum getting swapped to, he's dipping low, dampening is ramping up. Akins managed to tie his mana though, trying to keep his team in this fight to try and maybe pull off a miracle later into dampening healing stat.
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice play from him. The mana's tied up. This is kind of what Spanish Armada need, and that's why they've chosen this bigger map. They're playing for that dampening condition. Now you can see they're getting pressure onto Cassidy, and as this healing reduction increases, they'll start to force skill cap back, like to retreat, to run behind the pillar, and that's opportunities for Atkins to get even more drinks. He's got the Innovate up right now, should be able to reset his team very cheaply, of course. Mana not an issue whilst that Innovate is active. Hong getting caught up in the bash though. This could be the second ice block.
Ooh, Zuniaki wins the Psychic Scream War against Tharkum, landing his first and forcing the final ice block of this game potentially. Now they switch to Tharkum. He's dipping dangerously though. Akins has to heal 2 members. He gets Skull Bash. Tharkum can't disperse for 1 more second. He barely escapes to safety. Starting to re-stabilize. Mana completely evened out at this point. Perhaps the Spanish Armada can pull off a miracle. This sinking ship, they need to start plugging the holes before they go under. We see Temporal Shield traded out. This is absorbing a lot of damage. Hong will bounce back quite easily. Perfectly timed there on his part. Tharkum now getting swapped over too. Cassie doesn't want to attack into that Edge of Insanity. He switches again back to Hong. Second ice block again available. They managed to survive for that cold snap cooldown. Luckily for Hong, that will be his vital defense to survive throughout this crowd control attempt. Incarnation blown by Cassidy. He's doing a lot more damage in this position. Hong needs to be careful that he's not too greedy.
Yeah, I mean, he does need to be very careful in this situation. Does have that ice block. He's running dangerously low, though. Big heals come out. Of course, as soon as the Restoration Druid comes out of crowd control, he gets those Swift Mints, he gets his artifact trait rolling, and has huge healing. So that's definitely, if you do get out of the crowd control chain, there's a good chance Hong will survive without trading out that ice block. But we see now another full trap, Temporal Shield, but it's going to be the ice block. That's the last major defensive cooldown available for Spanish Armada. Trinket up for Atkins momentarily. As Zuniaki actually gets sniped in the sheep there, pushing for the fear. That That means Atkins will be able to kite away. They get the final survival instincts from Cassidy. This could be a win condition opening up for Spanish Armada.
Tharkum has Void Shift. They need to control Tharkum on this next crowd control chain to be able to kill Hong, or otherwise he'll just trade his health bar for his and survive. With dampening ramping up, Akin's mana advantage has now been lost. Zuniaki has Dark Archangel. He can boost his team's damage immensely. They've got good crowd control. Freezing Trap in the air. Mass Dispel lines up perfectly, though, by Tharkum, doing everything to keep his team in this match. This is it. They stun up Hong. Akins trades out Iron Bark. Will Iron Bark be enough? A 26% healing reduction is then the question. Looks to be the case, but it's costing the rest of his mana. Zuniaki's moving in. Akins tries to Feral Leap away, get a bash, and avoid the fear at the same time. Zuniaki in a position that he could get cleaved down. Spanish Armada not seeing that opening. They can't go for it. Hong still in trouble. No ice blocks. Void Shift, the last line of defense. Zuniaki and a poly. Cassidy not throwing the game away, just retreats. He's going to heal himself up, say, okay, we've got a clear win condition. We've got all the edge. Just chill out, recover, now push. We're in a safe position. Nice skull bash on Akins. Hong dips low. Tharkum is likely to trade his health. Tharkum, is he going to cast a Void Erupt at 20%? Was that a bait to try and make them switch to him? I guess it is. He's forced to defensively Psychic Scream. Akins is completely tapped on mana, and at this point, Skill Cap Red have been dominating this entire fight, and I think they're walking away with game number 2.
Well, the last chance for the Spanish Armada is this Icy Veins. He pops it right now. Hong looking for it. Full polymorph over onto Zuniaki. Cassidy doesn't have any walls, and he respects it. He runs behind the pillar, and this might have been the last chance for the Armada in game 2. They see the opportunity to bash up Adam Rex. He does have his trinket and the turtle available, not having to even trade that out though, as we see the Dark Archangel coming out from Zuniaki. They do force that turtle though, Sid. This Icy Veins did do work for them. If they can keep this momentum going, they could win the game here on sheer pressure with 33% dampening.
Ursul's Vortex got Adam Rex on his harpoon, and he was stuck in the open. He had to trade his massive defensive cooldown. Zuniaka's mana is starting to get burned. If they can get just a little bit more pressure on Adam Rex, he could potentially go down, and suddenly the Spanish Armada might have a win condition. Akins trinkets out of that freezing trap. They've got only maybe 30 seconds left in this game. Spanish Armada need to nail a kill, but they're on the back foot. Pressure scaling in favor of Skill Cap Red. Nice skull bash on Akins. That should close this game out as Skill Capped Red tear the fleet apart, advancing now into match point.
So much interesting stuff to actually talk about there, as we do see them splintered into hard countered on. And the other thing I think that we can agree on here, Sid, is that this map is honestly
fitting final round.
I'm so happy the synergy there. It has been a long time that one done since.
I just feel like the teams in these tournaments consistently over time, the best ones are the ones that can switch strategies between offense and defense. Spanish Armada are a team that are taking no risks and only playing defense. And they need to take risks. They're not getting any kill windows. They're playing far too passively. In the opener, MZW has to trade out his entire defensive lineup to survive the initial attack. They're on the clock from the first second of the game. If they don't get a kill in the next 15 seconds, Spanish Armada are going home.
I mean, I don't know what you're saying about no risks. They literally just queued a Windwalker Monk into a Jungle Cleave. I'd say that's pretty risky to me. But MZW, yep, he's going to have to trade out his Karma, his Wool, his Trinket, every single cooldown for that opener from Skill Cap Red. And I mean, that's not a good start, Sid.
Intimidation stun on MZW, double crowd control for the team of Skill Capped Red. Trinket Ironbark forced to be traded out. In this position, though, if Spanish Armada stabilize, they managed to actually pull aspect of the turtle from Adam Rex, as well as his Trinket. They've got a Comet Storm lined up. I still think Hong is making a mistake not running for that Ice Form build, especially with the Windwalker Monk. Those big bursts and leg sweeps should be the kill condition. They're not making it to dampening. Skill Capped Red have all the momentum to just end it. They can't make that long game. They're not running Zuniaki out of mana. He's playing perfectly on that Discipline Priest. I really love the return of Zuniaki in this tournament. He's definitely back on point. He's looking strong, maybe to take out Tempo Storm later on. This is the setup that Spanish Armada need to win in. Do they have enough damage in time? Just a little bit too short. If they were playing Ice Form, Adam Rex would be dead.
Yep, no, I totally agree. I think the Ice Form would definitely have been a big win for Spanish Armada in Game 3. I mean, you need that burst on a reliable thing. That's how you win playing this Windwalker Mage composition, especially against a relentless healer. But now we see MZW caught up in the bash. Ironbark to retaliate from Atkins, as he should be able to spam out some heals in the back line. They're going to swap some damage over onto Hong. But we've seen signs of life from Spanish Armada. If they can keep setting up with that incap into the Sheep, into the Cyclone, they have the one-shot potential, and they did force the aspect of the turtle from Adam.
And MZW has Trinket Touch of Karma. That's a guaranteed trade to survive. Skill Cap Red see that trade is available, so they switch targets, but Hong eats the trap on the Mage. MZW ate the trap earlier, now Hong eats the follow-up trap. These are nice defensive plays. Now they're leading the charge, trying to chase down Adam Rex. Cassidy needs to support him. He sneaks in a Hibernate, unfortunately breaking to damage. Now a Psychic Scream follow-up. They need to get ice blocks, but Adam Rex is on the back foot. Now they've switched targets. They basically reset defensive lineup lineups for Spanish Armada. Spanish Armada are suddenly in the fight. Double leg sweep. No crowd control on Zuniaki, though. He's able to trade out big powerward shields. Finally, a bash. He human racials out, life grips Adam Rex back to the pillar, saving him in the nick of time. He needs to line of sight and duck for cover just a little bit longer. It's just MZW. They bait him behind the pillar and switch. And Akins is tied on mana at this point, caught in a trap. His team could be in trouble, but Spanish Armada have restabilized. This is suddenly some signs of life. They look way better on this composition.
Yeah, no, they definitely look more confident. It's unfortunate they weren't able to set up a little bit better with the touch of death on that last setup. That could have been a kill. Looking to force the ice block here from Hong. They will force that first ice block, but Zuniaki doesn't even want to master spell that. He does, and that means he's using a lot of his mana pool. You can see he's down to 20% of that blue bar versus Atkins on about 50. Already a much better game coming in from Spanish Armada here, and you can see Icy Veins, that big offensive cooldown for the Frost Mage, up in about 5 seconds. They're going to be looking for a polymorph over onto Zuniaki so they can set up once again onto Adam.
Freezing trap, Hong on the back foot. This is easily going to be an ice block, I believe, in this position. He's trying to be greedy. It's match point. He's still trying to be greedy. He trades it out. Oh, it was a very close call for Hong. Zuniaki's actually almost tapped on mana. Spanish Armada are showing signs of life, but unfortunately Adam Rex has a strong defensive cooldown trade. Hong has no more ice blocks. This is it. It's a race to the finish. Can they do enough damage to take down Adam Rex? Triple crowd control initiated, fully channeled Ray of Frost. Tons of damage towards Adam Rex. They get more Cyclones, but Adam Rex hangs on. He jumps over, lands a freezing trap, and suddenly Hong is now on the back foot, forced to retreat, trying to kite for his life, but there's still so much damage ticking away. Psychic Scream secured. Skill cap red on point and looking to walk away with this if they can reconnect, and yes, they will. Blinking right on top of Adam Rex for a huge hit. Skill cap red, they are on point today, advancing 3-0.
And you know, if that went any differently, we would have...
Making a movie, they're going to want to go for those crowd control setups onto Lily and try to take someone down very early on.
Yeah, the Windwalker Mage that we saw earlier is going to play similarly to this Rogue Mage. However, the Rogue Mage can do it much more frequently, and Morrow is running that Frigid Grasp Azerite trait, so his damage is going to be insanely higher than we saw from Hong's Mage, which could be devastating for the Deleters. We see initial attacks towards Big Mex, tons of damage, and just closing it out, instantly making a movie take game one.
That's the power of that trade. You know, Morrow was able to get so much damage out very early on, and they were just, they executed.
The hook point so far in competitive?
I think it might be.
We saw it
in this region, yeah.
In this region.
Yeah, in this region. Okay.
All right.
Here we go. Let's see if they can get that big pressure we saw earlier. Morrow actually got flared out of stealth. This is the best map for finding anyone in stealth because it's such a narrow map. There's not really many paths you can go down, and it's very unlikely that you can dodge that initial flare. It's a great map for hunters against rogue and mages. It's a nice pick by the team of the Deleters, but they got deleted in game one. Let's see if they can survive. Big Mix is again playing relentless, but he is human. He human racials into another stun. Tons of damage. Gets aspect of the turtle off on 10% and hangs on. Smoke bomb still available. Making a movie still have a lot of damage available in another 40 seconds. They've actually kept the crowd control chain going. Lily trinkets into a Psychic Scream. Fully channeled Ray of Frost. Big Mix jumps over. Pain suppression has to get traded out. The Deleters are far on the back foot.
I don't know. Making a movie could be in some trouble here too. Ratipai traded out his trinket early on. Acro, no evasion, no vanish, no cloak of shadows. The Deleters can hold on a little bit longer. Incarnation rolling. There's a fear on Ratipai. Once that pain suppression fades, Making a movie, they have no defensives left.
All right, here comes the double stun combo. They drop the smoke bomb. They stun him with Ice Nova, but a barrier from Lily, well placed on that smoke bomb, absorbed a lot of that hits. It allows Big Mix to easily survive. Ice Form coming up in 7 seconds. Morrow's going to look to secure a kill with that. They need to make sure they get a stun into Poly on Lily, Psychic Scream or some other crowd control on Big Peter. If they can make it a 3-on-1, Making a movie should close this out. But in the meantime, Ratipai is crowd controlled. Acro's on the back foot. Morrow pops Ice Form to just counter pressure instead of peel, but he gets silence. He actually trinkets a silence to keep the chain going. They're trying to get a kill with this Evan Bolt. Big hit. Big Mix gets stunned again. They counterspell Big Peter on his off heals. That triple crowd control from Making a Movie is gnarly. They're going to lead this series 2-0.
Yeah, I think Twitch chat might want to change up their vote as Making a Movie go up in game 2, 2-0, and now on match point in the series. And these guys...
The leaders actually found Morrow in stealth with a flare, so it was a much better start than they could really ask for. If they don't get that same start on this map, it could be devastating. Big Mac sneaking in camouflage. There's a flare getting sent to midfield. Not going to hit anyone. Morrow's just inches away from it. That's a bit unfortunate for the Hunter not finding him. Actually, Lily finds Morrow. That means they can't get a sap. Acro's moving in, likely for kidney shot. Polly. Morrow moving in, Making a Movie, just spreading out. Big Peter moves right in front of Acro and doesn't even see him. in stealth, they obviously are invisible, but if they get close, they can see each other for just a second. Ratapai's charging in and spamming Holy Nova to try and pull somebody out of stealth, but he's not finding them. He thinks that Big Peter's hiding in the back of the room, but Peter's on the opposite end of the universe from where Ratapai is, and I guess they're really just trying to maybe find Acro with Flare. If they get lucky, that could be a great way to start the game, but so far 2 flares in a row and they're not finding him.
Ooh, Ratapai might be able to pull out Bic here and manages to do so. Looks like Acro's going to be charging in. There's the full blind once again. Big setup coming in from making a movie. Can they take Bic down in the opener? Manages to get the feigned death off. That's going to be Thorns coming in from Big Peter as well. Full polymorph though. All alone aspect of the turtle is going to be traded out, and that's not a good spot for the deleters.
I think Big Peter's playing Resto Affinity this game. He tossed out a big Swiftmend, but even with the Swiftmend, BigMex is in trouble on 10% with pain suppression, hangs on by a thread. Ratapai and Acro went all in though. They both used trinkets. Incarn is available. So is Coordinated Assault. The leaders have all their aggressive cooldowns. They can one-shot Acro if he's not careful. He needs to try and play away. He is playing Dwarf. He could trade that out, remove some of the bleeds, but the next trap on Ratapai could close the game. There's the stun. Incarn, Big Peter gonna pop it. He's being greedy. Acro pre-evasions, trying to avoid the stuns before they happen. Now looking to reverse pressure on BigMex, but not finding too much damage. Big Peter trying to fake cast the counterspell. Doesn't fake cast it. Could be an opening with Psychic Scream secured. BigMex on the run, but Ratapai going for Schism gets interrupted by BigMex as he's trying to kite. The crowd control is over. BigMex will survive. Acro still with no trinket. There's the Incarn, and Deleters are looking to swing back.
Yep, full fear on Ratapai. He uses the pain suppression preemptively, though. That's going to allow Acro to survive just a little bit longer. You can see the Ice Forms available. You can see Dark Archangels available. This is going to be very scary for the Deleters. Looks like they want to just let it rip. Big damage, but Acro is in a lot of trouble, too. Has to kite away, and Deleters strike back, taking down Acro in game number 3.
And still a really quick game. They won that one in only about 2-3 minutes. They just needed to survive that second setup, and they were able to do it. Now Deleters come in with the victory on game 3, but a reverse sweep still a long way away. Both these teams
looking to try and kill some dreams in this tournament. It's unlikely they can qualify to BlizzCon, but they're trying to make their mark here in the first tournaments of Battle for Azeroth moving into next year, and they could be big contenders if they can make a mark here and take making a movie down. They managed to swing back in game number 3. They need to do it 2 more times. On Dalaran Stewards, you see that red circle with the light slowly marching down. That's Flare. If any stealth targets move into it, they'll be pulled out and revealed to their opponents. So BigMex is trying to avoid being found and flare somebody out of stealth against the Rogue Mage and take their surprise flare right on top of Morrow, but not going to find Acro. He would have much rather found Acro. Acro's moving over, trying to find BigMex, but not going to commit, overextending just too far. If BigMex gets lucky with a flare, it could be huge for them in the initial part of this match.
Yeah, on the other end of the spectrum, though, Ratapai looking to get out BigMex out with a Holy Nova. You can see Morrow spamming out the Blizzard. It's just a matter of time before they get lucky, unless BigMex is just incredible at avoiding, and he's been doing a good job so far in this game, but they're really just playing it patient. I think if they can get the Hunter out of stealth, then making a movie, they can move in, get on the target that they want once again, but this is risky for Acro as well. He needs to play very far away from his Hunter.
Camouflage is over. They can see BigMex making a movie or moving in. They still don't want to get pulled out of stealth, so they got to be a bit cautious. There's a flare defensively. Acro needs to try and navigate around that and get stuns. Shadow steps in, lands the stun. Where's the damage? BigMex trinkets instantly in Feigned Death, disengaging, but he gets Shadow Step reconnect. Frozen Orb is down, Ice Form is popped, potential tons of damage here still available. BigMex is trying to be greedy and only trade Exhilaration. This is a great start for them, having only traded Pain Suppression. They hold on to that vital cooldown. They got Acro's Trinket and Ratapai's Trinket. They've set them up for a huge win condition moving forward.
Yeah, making a movie, trying to execute the same strategy. It's not working though. Deleters, they figured it out. A lot of pressure now onto Acro. Like you said, he doesn't have his Trinket. Next time Ratapai goes into crowd control, it's going to be very scary, but there's the full blind on Laylee. I think he actually did that. Excellently done. He's going to get out of the crowd control into a full polymorph though. BigMex, he's just not under any pressure whatsoever. Unfortunately, Morrow, he's not going to be able to AoE, which is where most of that Frost Mage damage comes from. So if he's stacked up on the Priest, Morrow really can't get out significant burst.
Big Peter popped his Incarn a little bit too early there, and Acro preemptively evasion, dodged the stun, and now is playing defensively. They've avoided the Incarn. That was a huge win condition, and the Deleters got over-eager. They saw the win in the bag and pulled the trigger just a little bit too fast. Now they're on the back foot with a stun on BigMex and a poly on Laylee, but there's just no damage. BigMex is taking not nearly as much pressure as we saw in the first 2 matches of the game. Ice Form popped, but it's actually Acro on the back foot. They dropped Smoke Bomb in desperation, but Acro is flailing to stay alive. Ratapai has burned all of his mana playing aggressively. If Ratapai's team don't win in the next stun, they're going to be going to game 5.
Yeah, Pain Suppression is going to be thrown out as well. The last line of defense Acro all alone, looking for a stun lock on Big Mix once again. There's a fear on Lily, nicely done. Is there any follow-up? There is. Acro looking to get aggressive, but he's just forced into such a defensive position. Ratify throwing out the last little bit of his mana to heal up Acro as they look to take down Big Mix, throwing out the aspect of the turtle. But now Deleters, they're going to be able to recover, and I don't think Making a Movie has that same luxury.
Nice moves from the Deleters, cleaning this series up now and taking it to a game number 5. There's a game-breaking adaptation gear change from Big Mix in this matchup. He realized all he has to do is live that stun lock, and he's going to survive, so he switched his trinkets to our favorite friends, the tank trinkets.
They're back.
All right, the Deleters have forced Making a Movie to change compositions. Their classic Frost Mage Subtlety Discipline Priest has been thrown aside for this substitute Shadow Priest Assassination Holy Paladin. We see this composition a lot in North America with the Gosu crew, formerly the Move. With a Paladin, they lose a lot of defense, but they gain a lot of offense. I think the quickest line to victory for the Deleters is actually tunneling the Holy Paladin. He only has the Divine Shield and the Blessing of Protections, which Lele can remove both of. And if they crowd control the Shadow Priest, they remove a lot of damage and utility. And I'm wondering what strategy the Deleters are going to move for on this map.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see. Big Peter, he's going to be moving in, it looks like. Valet trying to get him out of stealth. But not going to. Then nice setup over on the Valet. If they can stop his insanity generation, he is a good target very early on. But it looks like Making a Movie, they want to get aggressive with a kidney shot on Lele. Pain suppression going to be activated immediately into the cheap shot. He should be able to survive with this for now, but Making a Movie, that's an interesting strategy choice.
Yeah, they managed to pull Pain suppression and Rapture, so they banked a lot of defensive cooldowns from Lele. Now they're mind controlling him, ramping up their momentum onto a different target, which is likely to be Big Mix or Big Peter, but not really doing too much. It's actually Acro that's heavily on the back foot, trading out both Cloak of Shadows and Evasion. Ratipai caught into a freezing trap. They interrupt the Master Spell. Good crowd control. Acro is heavily overextended, still chasing down the healer, and this overextension could cost him the game. Gets stunned up. Ratipai moves in, saving him in the final seconds.
Yeah, Ratipai not being positioned really hurt Acro there. Like you said, he traded out the Cloak of Shadows, the Evasion, and the Stone Form. So basically every single defensive he has available. Now it's all up to Ratipai to keep him alive, and if Lele can keep forcing Acro to overextend, this is a good position for Deleters to be in.
The strategy that Making a Movie are playing, they should have ran Shaman instead of Paladin. It's way too exposed to crowd control with them playing the mid-game. Acro's just overextending, and the strategy from Making a Movie is it's just falling apart, basically. Acro's always on the back foot. He's trying to go after the healer, but he has to overextend to do it. He's going to overextend in line of sight Ratipai. Ratipai's trying to move in and stay with his team. Silence on Lele out of the stun. Good cross crowd control on Big Peter. They've isolated the healer. He trades out that barrier, absorbing a lot of hits. They are putting Lele on a clock, though. He is burning through a lot of mana quite rapidly. If Making a Movie can clean up their defense, they can win on that front.
Lally had a very sick play. Once again, he deathed another blind from Acro, so Making a Movie isn't going to have that crowd control available due to the nice outplay from Lally. Nice triple fear coming in for a second. Ratipai looks to be the target of choice. He's going to be attacked quite heavily, but he manages to escape with the freedom with the Divine Steed, gets away, tops himself off, and now Making a Movie wants to get aggressive once again, but there's a full trap on Ratipai. Acro all alone behind the pillar. Valet throwing out the mind controls, trying to slow the Deleters down just a little bit, but Lally's just making it so difficult for Making a Movie to commit. Ratipai struggling to get the heals on Acro in this situation. There's a full kidney shot on Lele into a silence. He could get taken down right now. He has the Rapture up, but just can't get any of them off. Finally getting a huge heal from Big Peter, stabilizing him just a little bit, but his mana is so low.
Right now, both teams are on the ropes. There's not many defensive cooldowns for the side of Making a Movie. Full freezing trap, Valet. Life switches his health. Big Mix switches over. He's trying to gun down Valet, forcing the dispersion. No defensive cooldowns really now on Making a Movie as Acro trades Evasion out before anything even hits him. Lale's got no mana, no cooldowns. It's a race to the finish, potentially a cross kill. Lale is the one that's falling behind at the moment. Kidney shot, is silence available? Doesn't appear to be. Lale can safely get out of that stun now. They need to get a kill on Acro in these next couple of seconds. They've ran out the clock. They've got no mana left. They need crowd control on Rata. Big Peter makes a move over, stunning him up. Acro preemptively shadow sets behind the pillar, but it's a race to the finish. He's got nothing. Ratipai sneaks in a sacrifice, and now Lele is completely tapped. He's silenced up. If Acro connects to Lele, he's surely going to go down. He's line of sighting for his life, doing whatever he can to keep his team going for another trap. How much longer can Lele keep this up, Ben?
He has the pain suppression. Big Peter getting swapped to now. Blind on Lele. Big Peter could be in a lot of trouble. He's trying to line of sight in bear form. Thorns activated as well, trying to reduce as much damage as possible, but they are in so much trouble. Pain suppression gets activated by Lele. That might be what it takes to keep him alive. Now a full trap on Ratify. He has the trinket, being a little greedy, not trinketing out right now. Acro's all alone. He doesn't have anything left. Unfortunately, might just go down in this situation. I'm not sure what happened.
Oh no, Ratify, I think he needed to trinket that trap. If he had it available, then that would have been the game right there. Lily was completely out of mana, but Deletas will take game 5 and knock Making a Movie down to the lower bracket. They will be in the top 3 on Sunday. And in a complete turn of events, Zico, they go from 2-0 down to completing the reverse sweep here.
Very nicely done reverse sweep there at the end. And what ended up happening was Ratify didn't have his trinket for a couple of more seconds. Ratify pre-sacrificed the trap that was before this one. Then the trap cooldown came off in the middle of things, and he got trapped on his Divine Steed. Big Mex managed to snipe one out. And then, of course, Acro, having used his evasion earlier when he was going on Lily.
They are the number 2 team currently sitting on the standings. We can see it will be the Turbo Cleave locked in from XRB to the moon in the first game against Reformed.
Mistweaver Monk from Looney. We saw him showcase that at the summer finals earlier this year, and it almost got him to BlizzCon, so he's definitely a well-veteraned Mistweaver Monk, but Mages love Mistweaver Monks to get lots of crowd control. Zeepai's going to have to back him up a lot to be able to survive this initial assault. Reformed get perfect crowd control initially. If XRB to the Moon are greedy in this position, it could cost them the match. Zeepai's actually playing the Veiled Eye, trying to get some extra defense, really all focused in on that defense against Rogue Mage setups. I think it's a smart move by the teams in this tournament.
Yeah, Looney into crowd control, gets locked out as well, but Zeepai's going to be full HP. Looney throwing out some heals now, incapacitate onto Relza. Nice cheap shot coming in from Flappers. That was very well done, denying the leg sweep coming in from Looney, breaking up that CC chain just a little bit. Looney he actually gets polymorph there on his Aura Mastery, not able to fully top off Zeepai, and unfortunately has to trade out the Life Cocoon as well. Reformed has lots of crowd control, lots of pressure very early on.
Yeah, at the moment, there's really no pressure on their side to try and reverse in favor. Reformed have everything in their control. Zeepai pops Ascendance to try and get a miracle kill on Gelu, but he's already Frost Nova Blizzo. Zeepai gets stunned away. Reformed take control of the match. This is the first time we've seen Gelu really utilized effectively in a series. We said Reformed were pigeonholed onto jungle, but their performance so far on this Rogue Mage Priest is really running XRB to the moon for a loop. Zeepai trying to retreat away. Nice blink counterspell by Gelu. If they can force Astral Shift, but unfortunately not. Nice Hex on Gelu by Zeepai. It stalls out a lot of damage. Good awareness there by him, seeing that his healer soaked the interrupt. He went for crowd control to stall it out. Now they make a swap to Relza, and I think tunneling the Discipline Priest is the right move in this matchup.
Yeah, definitely not a bad strategy at all. Ring of Peace going to be used there by Looney to knock Relza out of his power word barrier, so that was very nicely done to sort of get a little bit more pressure for his team, but Relza seems to be just fine in this situation. Now a little pressure over onto Zeepai as Flappers and Gelu looking to get aggressive, but there's no crowd control on Looney. You can see, look at how he's positioned very far away. Gelu's going to have to overcommit. Relza's going to have to push in order to get a fear. Flapper's going to have to commit the Shadow Step, and then Zeepai can just run away. Gelu now going to be pushing for a full polymorph, manages to land it with a kidney shot on Zeepai. He could be in some trouble right now. Looney, no trinket available, but Blizzo's going to leap over and deny the follow-up polymorph coming in from Gelu.
All right, Zeepai still in a 3-on-1, but he tremored the Psychic Screen by Relza. Nice move from Zeepai, getting Looney out of crowd control. These hexes on Gelu are also very annoying. I like that Zeepai is effectively using that crowd control. Mages gain Decurse back in Battle for Azeroth, so he can dispel Hex off his partners, but he can't off himself. That's just 8 seconds of time where Gelu can't develop momentum. They catch Relza in a stun. I really think he is ultimately the kill target. As soon as they've stabilized, they feel safe. They should make switches to the Priest and try and push him over the edge. In the meantime, we see Stormbolt on Gelu trying to slow down the polymorphs on Looney, as Looney is securing the mana advantage. It's obvious that XRB to the Moon are playing for the long game, with Zeepai running those tank trinkets and Looney just playing so defensively in the back line. XRB to the Moon playing to their strengths. It's up to Reformed to find an opportunity to win before the clock is run out.
Yeah, normally the Mistweaver Monk, you see them run that Way of the Crane, which provides a little bit of extra damage and a lot of bonus healing, but Looney's opting not even to run that, so you can see just how defensive XRB really wants to run. They know that Reformed is on a timer, essentially. Relza, once he runs out of mana, there's no way he can sustain his team through the Enhancement Shaman and Arms Warrior damage. So XRB, they're just playing a waiting game. They just need to stall it out a little bit longer. Zeepai playing very defensively. Nice Ring of Peace, going to be denying a fear, and Looney's been doing a good job making sure he's always moving away from Relza, so he's not susceptible to those fears.
Flappers are smart. They're not overextending. That Rop would have line of sighted Relza, so Flappers just waited a second, allowing Relza to get in line of sight, but that clock is starting to run out. Relza almost almost completely out of mana. Flappers got ported on his Shadow Step stun, I think. Nice moves by Looney. Double Psychic Scream on the DPS, and this spells panic for the team of Reformed. They're desperately trying to switch to Looney. He pre-life cocoons, but they've shredded through that. He actually doesn't have trinkets. Zeepai needs to back him up. He's out of Maelstrom. He has to cast heals. Those are not going to be doing... it's just enough for Looney to escape to safety. I almost thought those casted heals were going to be an opening for XRB, or for Reform to get a kill. Another swap to Looney could still be the game. Nice counter spell. That's going to put XRB behind.
Yeah, I really want to see Looney reposition his statues on the other side of the map, really not giving him any additional healing. Gelu pushing in for a polymorph with a kidney shot over onto Zeepai. He has his Ascendance up right now, so Reform could be in a little bit of trouble. Relza almost completely gassed out at this point of the game. Looney in a very safe position, just spamming out the Soothing Mist. Mistweavers are very susceptible to interrupts. All their healing can be interrupted for the most part, like we see right now, but once those interrupts are down, Mistweavers have some of the most effective healing in the game to top off their team.
Ooh, nice mind control at low health by Relza, trying to make it difficult for Looney to recover. They get a polymorph snuck in between. Zeepai trinkets, he's on the run. Good intimidating shout by Blizzo. Stalls out Flappers reconnect. Zeepai should survive. Nice hex. These hexes have been really MVP by Zeepai. It just slows down the Mage's pressure so much, and XRB to the Moon are playing the stall tactic to burn down Relza's mana. Look at it, that blue bar below his health. It's almost completely tapped. Looney has a huge advantage there. Gelu gets swapped to, trades Temporal Shield. They aren't able to race against it. That's going to pop him back up to full here quite shortly. They switch to Zeepai with the blind. Looney was greedy and did not trinket blind. Very greedy move, but it looks like he's going to get away with it. Grounding Totem to deny the polymorphs. He gets a couple casted heals out, but now re-polymorphed. Zeepai down at half. He's building up Maelstrom to try and trade up for healing surges. Looney actually trinkets, but gets counterspelled. Good crowd control by Reformed, but in the meantime, XRB to the Moon are also getting good stuns. It's a race to the finish. Relza has no mana. XRB to the Moon have no cooldowns. It's still anyone's match, but it's going to be ending soon.
Gelu has been doing such an insane job in this game with just landing polymorph after polymorph on Looney, immediately locking him out, and that's really where the pressure for Reformed is coming from. So excellently done by him, but unfortunately, Zeepai is able to keep himself alive. Looney's able to top him off out of those crowd control chains. You can see Gelu wants to get aggressive. He uses the Ice Form. A lot of pressure over onto Zeepai right now as they make a huge swap onto him. Full polymorph on Looney, no trinket available. Zeepai, how are you going to survive this one? Astral Shift gets popped out immediately as soon as it's off cooldown. He needs to survive a little longer. Relza with the double fear. Blizzo trying to come and help, but Looney's still into the polymorphs. Zeepai barely escaping here. Looney has the life cocoon, needs to connect it, and ultimately does. That could have been the final push for Reformed as Relza has no mana left.
No mana, and Flappers doesn't have evasion. The next Stormbolt on Flappers, he's gonna flop. Like, even Relza is in trouble. They're tunneling him down. It's a race to the finish. Nice leg sweep. Relza has no trinket, but Zeepai can't connect. Blizzo needs to solo the kill. He doesn't have enough damage. He's gonna Stormbolt Flappers and switch, but Zeepai's not connected. He's caught by that Frozen Orb, and he's actually retreating away. That Stormbolt was their kill condition, and Zeepai doesn't want to go for the kill. He's just gonna play for an even longer match, but this is leaving an opening for Reformed. Even though they're tapped, they've got Looney locked in polys. The kidney shot Zeepai. He chooses not to trinket. They've still got him in a 3v2. I'm not sure if Zeepai can heal through this deep into dampening. He goes for the double sundering, buys a couple more seconds, but he's overcommitted on defense. Looney connects a heal. Will that be enough? The Aura Master eats the potential counterspell, spams out a huge Surging Mist, and saves the day. There's the Stormbolt for the win. Zeepai connects. Relza life grips Flappers to safety. Zeepai goes for another Hex, pops Ascendance. He can attack from range and try and take Flappers down. I don't know how Relza is doing this, man. He's completely tapped, and he's hanging on by a thread.
I don't think he can hold on much longer with this Ascendance, though. That's going to be the final nail in the coffin. XRB manages to hold on just long enough, but honestly, that's the best I've seen Reformed run that Rogue Mage pre-setup, and I like I said, I'm very impressed with Gelu in this matchup.
I feel like that's the story of XRB, the OG composition on the Jungle Cleave.
Looney playing Way of the Crane. No, that's Way of the Crane is basically an all-in talent now for Mistweaver, and I was wondering if they're going to just run at the Priest Way of the Crane, but you're susceptible to crowd control because you have to run in and punch people, so not playing that means you can play far back and play for a longer match. Mistweaver mana is in a much better position, and with this composition, it makes sense for Looney to focus on defense. It's interesting that he's playing at the tombstones on the side of the map. We almost never see teams play in this position, and I'm curious to see how it plays out. XRB is stacked up together, but he's taking so much damage early on, Ben. Looney's trying to recover. Zeepai hangs on by a thread throughout this initial assault, but now a freezing trap. Zeepai in a 3-on-2. He's just trying to kite behind the pillar. Looney has to trinket, and Reformed just dominate in the first couple seconds of this game.
XRB to the Moon has used literally every single defensive that they have. Looney has to escape. He needs to avoid a little bit more follow-up crowd control. Zeepai still not topped off, though. Looney gets interrupted. Zeepai's in a lot of trouble. He's going to have to keep himself alive. Flapper's chasing him down, though. Relza as well. You can see his mana. He is just spammed to spell developing this. Looney gets caught into an interrupt, into a maim. Relza trying to get in position for a fear. If he can land the full trap right now, Zeepai will ultimately go down. Doesn't even matter. And those are the bites from Flappers we just know and love, and Reformed will tie up this series.
Reformed, we missed you in Cup 1. What an absolutely explosive performance from Flappers, the king of the bite, the king of the jungle.
They need to stop Relza from getting on top of Looney. Very, very important that he's not eating those fears. Although Zeepai has the tremor, like we kind of talked about, Reformed has been so good with the cross crowd control, it's difficult for him to get that off.
Zeepai dropped grounding, but he didn't pick up ethereal. He may be running triple damage on her talents, which could be an all-in on Relza. It looks like they're just leg sweeping Flappers and going after him in the room. Relza's pushing forward. This is a triple cleave. This is a nice move by Blizzo. He got a ton of pressure there on all. What is happening right now to Relza? He trade. What is this? What? No, that has to be triple honor talents from Zeepai for damage. I don't think anything else could create that much pressure.
XRB came into this game with a plan,
which is just super effective against teams that all in you. It makes your regrowth instant. It boosts all of your healing. You just mash out that regrowth button and get tons of big crits.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Reformed looks for an all-in strategy. I think it's likely, knowing that they're Reformed, they're playing the Dark Archangel. Looney just sitting in stealth for now, probably going to be throwing out an Iron Bark very early on, doesn't want to fall behind. Zeepai looking to put some pressure out on Dizio, and still, Looney still now just getting out of stealth. Flapper's going to open up. He's going to be moving forward for a bash on the Looney. Manages to find it, but Looney pre-Iron Barks this go. Zeepai should be able to survive.
Yeah, with the heal over time effects and the Iron Bark preemptively used there by Looney, Zeepai should be able to survive, but they still have Freezing Trap. If Flappers can reconnect, he uses Stampede to boost his movement speed. He gets back on target with 1 more second left on that Freezing Trap. A Swift Man connects. Looney does not want to use Tree of Life until Flappers pulls the trigger. That's the Incarn. There's the Tree of Life. 1-for-1 exchange by Looney. This should allow them to easily survive the opening burst. And look at the mana already for Relza. He's in trouble.
Yeah, Relza's in a lot of trouble. Caught into the Stormbolt. Has his Pain Suppression. Has his Trinket. Doesn't want to trade it out too late. Looney caught into the maim, though. Can Relza get there for a fear? Doesn't look like it. Blizzo just snaring him up. Discipline Priest just doesn't have that much mobility. Dizio looking for the full trap. Doesn't manage to find it on the Looney. And Looney easily keeps Zeepai alive for now. He still has that Astral Shift he can hold on to. Relza almost tapped on mana at this point in the game. There's a stun onto Zeepai. Powered Barrier going to keep Relza alive for a little bit longer, but this is looking really good for XRB.
They survived the all-in. They're looking to kite for this Freezing Trap. Dizio not even going for it at this point. Looney jumps in, bashes Flappers, and gets in line of sight of Zeepai. That was a cheeky wild charge play by Looney. I don't really like this Innervate outside of Tree of Life. I think it would have been much wiser to use it during it. He spent a lot of mana in Tree of Life. Unfortunately for Relza, he's still behind, and he's still getting tunneled down. Relza's on a clock. He's got almost nothing left. He gets pummeled on the heel, gets Windshirt on the follow-up. Nice interrupt chain by XRB to the Moon. Relza's on the ropes. He goes for a fear, but he gets feared himself. He's still dangerously low, trying to get out of Shadow Man, but he's got no mana left, and this is likely to be it for Reformed. XRB, there's no openings right now for Reformed. They've got all the momentum. Relza has got nothing. Multiple interrupts headed his way. Stormbolt connects. XRB to the Moon. Make it look easy in game number 4, advancing 3-1.
Oh, Zeepai did such a solid defense there for Looney. Was always dropping that grounding totem. You could see, you know, Relza would put, or not Relza,
is going to be their healer. They've gotten this far, but will they be able to make it through one of the most aggressive teams we've seen in the AWC, making a movie?
Yeah, making a movie, they're going to have to make a play very early on. If Tempo Storm can outlast that aggression, then they ultimately will win on mana, more than likely. So making a movie, like I said, they have to get aggressive. They have to look for these setups. Morrow looking to get aggressive very early on, popping the Ice Form. Shadowblade's going to be used as well. They're looking to take down Alec, but a nice Temporal Shield will deflect most of his damage.
Yep, good Temporal Shield, and then obviously Nixie still trading out the trinket. Alec gets busted down. He's as cold as ice. He gets caught up. Master Spell, Smoke Bomb. They're going for the all-in here, but no crowd control on Nixie. Ironbark should deflect the rest of the damage, but Alec's still in trouble. That was a huge arsenal of defensive cooldowns force from Tempo.
Yeah, now Alec wants to get aggressive, trading out the Ice Form, empowering his damage quite a bit with the Cyclone over onto Acro. Rattapie playing defensive. He uses the Rapture to keep his team stable and alive to deflect these cooldowns coming in from Tempo Storm. It's a nice play. Making a movie, or yeah, they just need to buy their time, wait for their next setup so they can try to burst down Alec and force out that second Ice Block.
Yeah, and you can see Nixie is actually running with the Moonkin affinities, which of course immunes him to those polymorphs whilst he's in the Moonkin form. He can still dispel and regrowth, and there's actually a build you can play with the Honor Talent Nourish, where each one of your regrowths will apply a hop. But we see the kidney shot coming over onto Nixie right now. They need to land the Ring of Frost. It's the only crowd control that actually works on that Moonkin form. They're able to land it. Alec, once again though, using the Temporal Shield, blinking behind the pillar, should be able to kite away, but Rattapie does have the follow-up fear.
Yeah, there's a follow-up fear. Jamie doesn't look like he has the Tremor available. I think Rattapie got that out of the way earlier on, so that was nicely done. Alex still getting bursted down, but the Iron Bark should be able to deflect. Nice cross crowd control coming in from making a movie. Rattapie's doing a good job with his mana. Dark Archangel is going to be available for the next setup. Nixie still no trinket available. He gets interrupted. Iron Bark's going to fade. Alex in a world of pain very, very shortly, but Marl's getting counter pressure. This Mage is forced into a sort of a defensive position right now. Both mages just attacking each other. Ultimately, Morrow is the one that is forced into his first ice block.
Yeah, and I mean, the Rogue Mage Priest, we already saw when it was the side of Method Black, they really struggled against this composition from Tempo Storm, and once again, Morrow forced down. We can see Rattapie's doing a fantastic job with his mana pool though, which is definitely a big difference between the game with Method Black. Getting caught up in the crowd control right now, Morrow having to kite away, so we see the counter kidney shot coming out onto Nixie once again in that Moonkin form, but the Ring of Frost lands. Alec in trouble.
Yeah, Alex a lot of trouble. Blinks behind the pillar with the Temporal Shield, deflecting a lot of this incoming damage. Acro's looking for a sap onto Nixie, gets it out of the Ring of Frost. Alec now all alone by himself. Is he going to be able to hold on just a little bit longer? Nixie connects the Iron Bark once again, and once he gets out of that crowd control, he gets the Iron Bark up. I don't think Alex is going to die, so Tempo Storm's been doing a good job. Alec realizing when he has to play defensive, he's blinking out of line of sight, activating the Temporal Shield, and it's those plays that are keeping him alive.
Yeah, I think Alec has been playing this game fantastically from a defensive point of view. He's running that Relentless Talent. I would be curious to see if he's actually playing the single blink to blink out of stuns. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think I might have seen it. He's got the Temporal Shield as well, so he's just trading that out every time they get the crowd control. And of course, Jamie provides fantastic utility on that Enhancement Shaman. He's got the Tremor Totem, he's got the off heals. They're trying to swap over to him though, since he did Trinket in that last exchange.
Yeah, now they're turning their attention over onto Jamie. Nixie has to trade out his Trinket on the Polymorph. Luckily for him, Acro's already used the blind, so that might not exactly line up perfectly a little bit later on in the game, and that could be an opportunity for making a movie to score a kill. Morrow having to play a little defensive as Jamie's all over him, but he's been doing such a good job kiting him, keeping him in the Polymorphs, really just minimizing the damage he's taking while Rattapie's caught into these Cyclones.
Yeah, and Alec, since he's playing that Blink instead of the normal Shimmer, they've actually decided that he's not an easy kill target for the Subtlety Rogue. Of course, very reliant on those stuns. Morrow now dropping lower and lower. Rattapie's mana's dropping low. Tempo Storm, the three-man roster without a healer, with Nixie ulting on that healer, are looking fantastic in the first game on the Ground Arena, but we see a big swap over onto Jamie.
Uh-oh, Smoke Bomb gets dropped. Jamie has to get out of it. Nice Iron Bark going to be used by Nixie on that Smoke Bomb. That's the only reason why Jamie's alive. Nixie been playing excellently in this matchup so far. Now Morrow could be in some trouble. Rattapie caught into the Polymorph. Morrow forced into a very defensive position. Rattapie can't connect. Nice snares coming in from Alec. Morrow gets bursted down, forced into the second ice block, and he's not going to have another one for another 3 minutes.
Yeah, no ice blocks, of course. Relentless on Rattapie, who's also struggling on mana, but Tempo Storm need to be careful. This next setup could be the kill. No Astral Shift, no Iron Bark for Nixie. Jamie will be the kill target, but he does have his Trinket and the Grounding Totem. It's all down to him to stop this next crowd control. Full CS over onto Nixie. That's out the way now, so he'll be able to free cast heals in that Moonkin form if they can stop this Ring of Frost.
Yeah, there's the full Ring of Frost. Ebonbolt going to connect onto Jamie. He's in a world of pain right now. He Trinkets out, throwing heals on himself, trying to stay alive the best he can. The Ray of Frost being channeled out by Morrow. Nixie has the Iron Bark, not even going to throw it out. Jamie stabilizes. He's going to be fine. This is looking good for Tempo Storm.
This Moonkin affinity on Nixie is paying dividends for the team. It means he can't get the random sheeps. They can't get the follow-up sheeps once they land that Ring of Frost, and it's just helping Tempo Storm aid themselves to victory. We see a full blind here, but I'm not really sure what they can do with it. They're using the orb. They're trying to get another go onto Jamie here. Trinkets up momentarily for Nixie. Will he get it in time? He might have to trinket out DR here, but Jamie dies.
That is the setup I was talking about. Nixie, he waited and he sat the blind into a kidney and then ended up trinketing the follow-up Polymorph. And that 10-second window they took advantage of and ended up closing out the game.
RMP, if the Mage has enough damage to kill on its own, we'll just bring an Outlaw Rogue. That's even better.
Pumpkin Spice Lattes and Outlaw Rogues. What a season to be alive in. But Making a Movie going to be leading by 1. Will they be able to get themselves on match point?
Yeah, and I think it is important to note once again that this is the 3-man version of Tempo Storm. They have Botar, a 2-time BlizzCon champion, sitting in the ranks waiting for that next cup. So definitely going to see a lot more of them. But even as 3, they're looking great. Nixie playing that healer role. And I mean, he's learned his lesson, right? Like the full blind comes out from Acro, immediately going to trinket out of that one so that he does have that cooldown rotating appropriately. Yeah,
I think it's smart. Jamie's still in a little bit of trouble, not using the Astral Shift, but Nixie finally going to be out of crowd control. Should get the heals rolling on Jamie. He should be stable. And now Tempo Storm, they want to get aggressive, but the polymorph on Alec and a nice CS on a Nixie. Maro's doing an excellent job controlling the enemy team during this downtime. They just need to stall it out till they get the DRs up to put Nixie in more crowd control. They can do another burst attempt onto Jamie.
One of the things you actually need to be really aware of when you play Mage into this Moonkin Affinity Resto Druid is actually your CS is one of your best ways of stopping heals. So I think using that too freely can be a mistake on the side of Maro, since Nixie can now basically free cast Cyclone as much as he wants. But that smoke bomb landing a full sap on Nixie, a beautiful outplay coming in from Acro Lols there, able to land that. Not too much doing though, as Jamie's just going to trinket out, spam out some heals, stop the follow-up crowd control.
Well, they've gotten the trinket from Nixie, they've gotten trinket from Jamie, they've got Astral Shift, so they've basically gotten every single defensive Tempo Storm has available. Alex is going to have to do an excellent job playing defense. There's the Tremor Totem as well, so Nixie is open to or susceptible to a lot of crowd control coming up here very, very shortly. If you look, making a movie, they still have a lot of offensives available. If they can just line those up with a nice crowd control on Nixie, they can definitely close out this game. Yeah,
there's definitely going to be looking at that Dark Archangel coming up in about 15 seconds for Radopi. Of course, the Ice Form as well for Maro, that big cooldown that Zico was talking about pre-game, and now the polymorphs coming in. They're trying to land some stuff, but Nixie just kiting away. We're waiting for that kidney shot from Acro. That's normally the initiation on the crowd control. You can see he's sitting there, he's waiting for it. Here we go, kidney shot, cheap shot on Jamie. They're looking for the kill then.
Yeah, Maro lands the full Ring of Frost. Jamie's in a lot of trouble. No defense is available. There's the Dark Archangel. All 3 members looking to take Jamie down, but his healing is just crazy. He manages to top himself off, despite basically a perfect setup coming in from making a movie. And now Jamie wants to get aggressive onto Maro once again. He still has both his ice blocks. Jamie doesn't have the Ascendance for another 2 minutes, but Acro, he's just playing it patient. Gets the full sap on Alec in this matchup and just stalling out time until DRs are up.
Yep, the sap there coming out over onto Alec, just slowing down the game a little bit. Radopi down to about 40% mana, so that's already something that making a movie needs to be very aware of. Of course, Nixie's trinket has rotated back for the blind on Acrolols. That can be a free exchange if making a movie want to make it. But Jamie, much more importantly, has his trinket, has his Astral Shift. Tempo Storm have the tools they need to survive, and now they're the team that's trying to get offensive over onto Maro.
Yeah, Maro, he's doing a good job polymorphing up Alec. There's the full blind on Nixie. Nixie, are you going to trinket? Are you going to make the same mistake once again? He manages to sit it into a full sap. If he has to trinket late, that's going to be another opening for making a movie, but he sits the entire blind and the sap. Jamie manages to survive. DR Fear coming in. Jamie not going to be wasting the Tremor. I think that was a bait. Radopi was trying to get that precious Tremor Totem out of the way, but Jamie realizing, hey, that's a 1/4 DR Fear on Nixie. There's no reason to use it at this moment, especially when making a movie really didn't have any pressure rolling.
Yeah, so if you sit the blind, I think the only way that that's an acceptable choice is if you don't have to trinket anything in the setup. So Nixie actually got away with that play since Jamie also didn't have to trade out his trinket, but they have the Astral Shift down now, of course. A lot of offensive cooldowns available. You see Shadow Blades for Acrolols, also that Ice Form will be up in about 20 seconds. So definitely some huge offensive cooldowns on the side of making a movie, but Tempo Storm have answers, and Radopi is running low on mana, down to about 20%. He's going to run out of healing very shortly in this game, as Dampening will surely stack in the next couple of minutes, and making a movie are really struggling on this slightly larger map to get their setups going.
Yeah, Tempo Storm's looking bulletproof. Nice interrupt on Nixie. Now it looks like they're going to be turning their attention.
They wanted Nixie there.
Nixie looks like he's the target of choice for now. He's in bear form with Barskin. Should be able to survive. That's the Dark Archangel coming in from Radopi. The last little bit of mana, and really Nixie not using too much. Still has the trinket available. Jamie did use his trinket in that exchange, trying to keep Nixie alive, but I think that was a perfectly fair exchange. Making a movie, they're really running out of time.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of desperation time when they go for the Restoration Druid. It is an advantage of the Moonkin aura coming out of Nixie that he doesn't have the Guardian, so he doesn't have the Frenzy Regeneration or the 6% damage reduction that the Guardian Affinity brings you. But on the flip side, he has his trinket because he saved it on the blind, so he's definitely not going to be an easy kill for making a movie, who are very short on time in Game 2 here on Tiger's Peak. Maro just getting tunneled down, really struggling since Jamie's doing such a great job of shutting him down. He's going to be forced into that ice block. Now he needs to get offensive over onto Nixie.
Yeah, it looks like they want to make a swap swap over onto Nixie. He trinkets out immediately, realizing he could go down, so doesn't want to mess around. Looks like Jamie uses his Ascendance. Morrow could be in some trouble in the situation. Rattapie into the Polymorph. There's a full blind on Nixie, though. Doesn't have a trinket available. And Jamie needs to keep himself alive, doing so quite easily. Morrow looking for the Ebon Bolt onto Jamie, but he easily deflects that, taking basically no damage in that exchange. And now Morrow's on the run.
I like the creative play coming out of Making a Movie, but they simply didn't have enough damage. We saw the Ascendance from Jamie, just easily able to out-heal anything that Making a Movie could produce. But they have forced the trinket on Nixie. There's two openings here. Potentially Jamie without that Astral Shift, or Nixie without the trinket. I'd love to see them keep swapping over to him, but they just don't have enough time. Rattapie has absolutely nothing left in the tank. He's desperately spamming out smites to get the heals, but it's just not happening. Now the full Polymorph coming in. Morrow's in a lot of trouble, and Tempo Storm are just a few seconds away from winning this game.
Yep, they are. We've seen Making a Movie come in with desperation plays and close out the game when it looks like they are going to lose. I expect them to hold on for dear life. Here's a big swap onto Nixie. Jamie has to keep him alive with the grounding totem. Drops it. Not a lot of damage coming in from Making a Movie in this particular setup. Nixie manages to survive. That was nicely done by Jamie. Alec getting bursted down just a little bit, but look at Rattapie. No mana at all. Manages to death the Sheep coming in from Alec, removing that into the resheep. Morrow in a little trouble now. Still has one ice block available, and Rattapie somehow always keeps his team alive when he basically has no mana left. Throws the pain suppression to reduce the incoming damage. And honestly, Making a Movie, they still have a chance, but it's not looking good.
Yeah, they're swapping back over onto Alec now, but he's still playing that Blink talent, able to blink out of all these stuns. A good Temporal Shield will keep him stable behind the pillar, and Nixie's on the stun DR, so they don't have the opportunity to swap to him. Jamie will surely Tremor this Fear. He actually preemptively uses the Tremor before the Fear. They kill it off. Now they have the full Fear over onto Nixie. This could be an ice block from Alec. Beautiful play coming out of Making a Movie, who do not have any mana still. Morrow taking so much damage. Full Cyclone over onto Rattapie, looking for that second ice block, and they do force it though.
Managed to find it. No ice block going to be available for 4 minutes. Acro getting swapped to now, forcing the evasion. Rattapie has the Dark Archangel. Is there any openings? I mean, Jamie, he has a trinket. Nixie has a trinket. Ironbark up in 15 seconds for Tempo Storm. This is looking so good for them to tie up this series. They just need to not throw it away. Morrow getting interrupted. You can see Jamie all over him in this situation, but nice triple CC coming in. Making a Movie looking to make a play here, but unfortunately gets denied by a nice counterspell coming in from Alec, and now Alex wants to get aggressive, looking for the Blink Polymorph, but it doesn't look like he manages to find it just yet.
Yep, Nixie actually trinkets out of the blind there, so maybe one last opening for them, but we're down to 16% dampening. Morrow has no ice blocks. Rattapie has no mana. The next crowd control could easily be the game. They might just kill with damage, honestly, at this point. Jamie sitting in the Polymorph, going to be looking to reconnect over onto Morrow, his kill target. The Frostmage slow is still keeping Morrow in the game, though. Jamie struggling a little bit here, but Rattapie, they're so defensively positioned. It's going to be so hard for Morrow to even get a swap over onto Nixie if they could set it up. And I mean, Tempo Storm, I can't believe they haven't even secured this game yet. They're so close to winning it.
Well, Making a Movie is really good at stalling out the game when they have no mana. Morrow's great at kiting, keeping up the snares, throwing out the polymorphs, but Jamie with the Ascendance now, the range damage, that should close out the game. I don't think Rattapie has the healing to keep him alive in that situation, but nice attempts by Making a Movie. Tempo Storm, they just look bulletproof when they pull it off correctly.
And the thing is when they do pull it off, you start to say to yourself, Tempo Storm could just be able in this
Senpai here on the Druid.
Reda Senpai indeed going to lock it up on the Restoration Druid, and I mean, that kind of speaks to the fact that Making a Movie didn't feel confident in their second game then.
Well, it's not fun to just wait until your priest runs out of mana. So I think Rattapie and the Druid, I think it's an excellent adaptation. They saw exactly how Method Black won against Tempo Storm, so or at least did a pretty good job with this composition at least. So we'll have to see how they can pull it off. The Resto Druid's going to bring a lot more crowd control with the Cyclones. The mana is going to be a little bit more stable, and with the Hots, it's going to allow Morrow and Acro's HP to become a little bit more stable as well. And Jamie's going to have more of a difficult time purging off those key buffs like the Ice Barrier.
Yep, so this is going to be the one for the first, I guess, full test of Rattapie on the Druid as Nixie tried to hibernate, not estimating his opponent too highly at that first one, but Rattapie definitely gets the best of that first exchange, landing the Mighty Bash into the Ring of Frost, and this is dangerous for Alec already as we see the Cyclone coming out. Good crowd control from Making a Movie, looking strong. Damage isn't quite there. We see actually Acro's playing the DFA, but unfortunately Cyclone. Good extra mobility cooldown coming out of the Rogue though.
Yeah, Acro, you can see he's pulling back. He's looking for the re-stealth, manages to find it, so he gets out of combat. That's going to allow him to go into stealth, get the cheap shots and garrotes that are only available to him when he is in that stealth. manages to find the cheap shot on Nixie. Garrote onto Alec, and this is a lot of pressure here for making a movie. Alec's getting bursted down a little bit with that Comet Storm. Could be the first ice block. Manages to blink out of it, though, with a nice counter spell. Gonna survive. There's a bash on Ratify as they make a swap onto him in Boomkin form. Do they have the damage to take him down? He activates the Bark Skin, should be able to survive, but maybe Temple Storm trying to exploit the fact that Ratify isn't the most experienced Resto Druid, but I don't know. So far, he's playing it quite well.
Yeah, he's playing it quite well, but at the same time, they do lose some of that offense with the Discipline Priest, so they're passively going to find it harder to kill Tempo Storm, who are already looking quite tanky in the matchup. They lose the Dark Archangel, they lose the additional damage from the Discipline Priest, so we're definitely expecting this game to go a little bit longer. We see good damage now onto Acrolol. The purges on those hots from Jamie also going to make Radipai's life that bit harder.
Yeah, Acro's still getting low, though. Doesn't have anything available. Ratify flailing to keep him alive as he barely hangs on. There's a Tranquility coming in from Ratify with a defensive blind onto Jamie that will keep Acro alive. What a scary moment for making a movie.
Yeah, this is not looking like the most confident start for making a movie. Even though they are living, they're really struggling to get stuff going offensively, and they need to at some point. We see Nixie caught up in the bash right now. They'll be looking for the Cyclone out of that, since he did preemptively shift into bear form, making him immune to polymorphs coming out of Maro. Now we see a DR kidney shot as they try swap over to him, but really nothing's going to happen from that. They force out the Iron Bark, I guess, but honestly, no Bark Skin. Nixie should just be able to walk away from this. They're trying to tunnel him down. That Moonkin form makes it slightly harder for him to survive, but his team's free casting right now. Making a move, you need to be careful.
Yeah, Ebon Bolt coming in from Maro. Nixie's going to take quite a bit of burst here. Jamie here to finally help him out with some heals, putting some pressure onto Acro. Still no evasion, no Cloak of Shadows, no Vanish, no nothing. So the only line of defense making a movie really has is that Iron Bark from Ratify. Once they can force that out, Acro could be very vulnerable as a target later on. Acro forced into a defensive position. He can't afford to chase Nixie behind the pillar, so Jamie coming back, keeping Acro very defensive. I think it was the right move.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be going okay for them. Look at the mana bars, though. Making a movie definitely a little bit behind Ratify at about 50% mana, but obviously much better than the Discipline Priest. That's one of the advantages of bringing this Restoration Druid to the field. We get good Cyclones coming out here as well, as we see the triple crowd control. Actually, Trinket forced here over onto Nixie. I think Maro popping all his offensives there was enough to scare him. He's still in trouble as he has to use the bash defensively, the Iron Bark. This is the problem with the Moonkin form. He doesn't have that Frenzy Regeneration, gets behind the pillar, should be able to stabilize here, but Trinket forced outside the blind will definitely cause a few openings. I mean, honestly, they might just keep going for Nixie on this Druid.
Yeah, Alec also traded out an ice block there, so in that exchange, they got a free ice block from Alec. He was worried about Nixie. He ice blocked out of the crowd control so he could land a counter spell, try to keep his team alive with some polymorphs, but that's a free cooldown. Making Movie was able to pull out, and they could take advantage on that later on. They can get the second ice block of Alec, and they have a huge window of opportunity to take down Temple Storm. In terms of mana, both Druids relatively even. Another kidney shot now committed onto Nixie. Does Maro have any damage? It looks like he does. A lot of burst onto Nixie right now. Jamie getting CC'd up. Ratify doing a good job with the CC. Cyclone onto Jamie, bash onto Jamie, Cyclone onto Alec now. Ratify playing this quite expertly to keep his team aggressive.
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job. You can see his inner Discipline Priest being channeled into this Restoration Druid right now, but he needs to be careful. There's the full bash. Jamie now in a little bit of getting a good amount of pressure out over onto Ratify, who's also being tunneled down by that Ray of Frost from Alec, who's getting good polymorphs out right now. But Nixie doesn't have anything here. He preemptively Iron Barks it, and the heals coming out from Jamie should stabilize him. That Iron Bark was a huge play from Nixie. He didn't have anything left, and even now, he's still taking insane damage here.
Yeah, anytime he gets caught into the kidney shot, Mages have an ability called Spell Steal, and when they're talented into Kleptomania, which they normally are against Resto Druids, he can remove all of those heal over time effects. So Nixie gets caught into a stun, has no hots because of Kleptomania, and then he has to play catch-up. So that's where Jamie on the Enhancement Shaman really is just so valuable to keep him alive.
Yeah, we see another kidney shot coming over onto Nixie right now, who trades out the Bark Skin immediately. He's really struggling to shift out of these things. He needs to get the bear form on a few more of these stuns to reduce that incoming damage, but he's struggling. And now another Bark Skin down. His Trinket is rotating, though. Of course, there's no blind to exploit that on making a movie right now, since they tried to use it to set up over onto Alec. They just need to keep doing these swaps, maybe try find an opportunity. Ratify's mana is dropping slowly down to about 30% right now. That is the win condition for Tempo.
Yeah, Ratify uses his Bark Skin. There's the Ascendants coming in from Jamie. He's looking to turn his attention right now over onto Alec, or sorry, onto Acro, it looks like, trying to keep the pressure up. Death from Above going to be used over onto Alec, allowing Acro to get a little bit more uptime, as Mages can be very slippery with their blinks and snares, so I think that talent adaptation, not necessarily the worst decision. Smart by Acro. Both Mages just exchanging damage in the middle of the map. Around 8% dampening right now. Nixie's actually way behind on mana, so it might be wise for him to try to sneak off and get a drink in this situation.
Yeah, I think Nixie's actually, since they started swapping to him, he's been struggling. You can see he's actually sitting down for a drink right now behind the pillar, but a beautiful Pet Nova coming out of Maro will catch him. And now Acro, once again, they're committing, they're doing the swap over onto Nixie. He does have the trinket and the Buckskin. He's using the Buckskin, he wants to hold on to that trinket as he's trying to kite away. We see the bash onto Acro, trinketed. They're trying to stay offensive here. Maro gets counterspelled on Frost. There shouldn't be a great opportunity to kill Nixie here, but they force that defensive core, and once again, Radopai having to exchange a lot of mana, but Nixie's just still staying in. He needs to be really careful here, Van.
Yeah, he could have gotten away there, opting to get really aggressive with the Boomkin form and the Cyclones. Luckily, he got the Iron Bark on himself before the Kidney Shot and the Bear form. That was very well done reading the situation, but he's still in so much trouble, and his mana has been taxed so much with this strategy coming in from making a movie. He really doesn't have that much time left.
Yep, he's going to get the Cyclones. Actually, a Cyclone onto Radopai, once again getting aggressive. This is good cross-crowd control coming out of Tempo Storm. The DR Polymorph is CS though on Alex. There's no follow-up. They actually let Acrolor get a re-stealth there. Slight misplay on the side of Tempo Storm. Nixie, I'd love to see him just go behind the pillar here. Yes, he is the guy they're trying to swap to. You can see Acrolor's trying to step towards him, and Nixie's running away. He's going into the corner. He's looking for a drink here. This could be huge for the team. You saw his mana was almost taxed. He's drinking up to full mana right now. They even have to use the orb to stop him, which is a big offensive cooldown on the side of making a movie, and that's definitely going to put them a little bit further behind as dampening starts to stack then.
I think it was definitely worth it, and now Alex actually getting bursted down in the situation, but stopping Nixie's drink there was basically something they had to do at all costs. I think it was a fair trade. Alex still getting bursted down, full blind on Nixie. He trinkets out. Temporal Shield's going to be used by Alec. With the Iron Bark from Nixie, he should be able to survive. Now Tempo Storm looking to get aggressive with a bash over on the Radopai. Nixie looking for the Cyclone with the Polymorph on Acro. Maro all by himself, 3v1 situation. Radopai trinkets out, dispels Acro, and now Maro gets a little bit of help from his team with that Iron Bark. And 20% dampening, these Resto Druid Hots are going to become so much less effective, and both Druids are running out of time with their mana pool.
We're definitely in the end game now. Both these healers out of mana. Nixie definitely feeling the most of it though. Almost zero mana on him. Radopai still has a tiny bit of blue in the bank as he's pushing in for those Cyclones using the Boomkin form. Nixie doesn't have a trinket though. This is dangerous. Full Buckskin coming out. This is the offensive cooldowns from Maro. They're trying to go through it. Even if they don't get the kill and the stuns, they have the damage. Dampening also stacking will make it very hard for Nixie to top himself off as he's trying to kite away here as he might fall down so low on health. He gets Vortex back into the fight. He blinks away, gets the bash. Nixie, with the survival artist skills, actually going to get out of this one. He might go for a drink here, Van.
Yeah, he has to at this point in the game, but Acro and Maro, they need to be able to shut it down. Nixie, he's sitting down. He's out of combat. If he gets these drinks off, this is going to be so huge for Tempo Storm. Every second he's sitting down in stealth, his mana's going up higher and higher. Alec just trying to hold on and buy his Druid as much time as possible. Gets 60% of his mana back, and now things for Tempo Storm are looking so good. Radopai completely tapped on mana. Jamie and Alec looking to get aggressive. Radopai looking to get out of combat himself. Go for a drink, but that's not going to happen. You can see Alec and Jamie all over it, and they're going to be able to shut that down. Kidney Shot now onto Nixie. Maro getting bursted down. Ken making a movie, make the last final play onto Nixie. Uses the Bark Skin, has the Iron Bark. Might be able to get away, but this is so much damage coming in from making a movie. Bark Skin, Iron Bark, both committed onto Nixie. He's trying to get away, just buy a little bit more time. Jamie coming to help him out with the heals. He's trying to kite the best he can. Vortex going to keep him in position for just a second longer. Does Maro have the damage to close this out? Trinket just coming up for Nixie. Has to trinket out of the stun immediately. Vortex going to be used on Acro. Polymorph's coming in, but the Shadow Step allows Acro to get back on target. Huge in Venom. The bash, though, is the last thing keeping Nixie alive, and I think he's done it. I think he's managed to survive and weather the final storm coming in from making a movie. Yeah, he has weathered it there, but Nixie, he's still being tunneled down. I'd love to see him just get away, like use the sheeps onto Acro Laws so he can kite across the map once and for all, but he's still being unrelentingly trained here, caught up in the full stun. The heals need to come out from Jamie if he is to stay alive. Iron Bark on himself, but it's not going to be enough. 34% dampening. He's struggling so much. Now the sheep start coming in from Alec to start peeling Acrolors off him. He should be able to free cast some heals here. Gets the Cyclone onto Radopai. They're looking to turn it around. No ice block for 3 seconds on Maro.
He should be able to get to that cooldown if he needs to use it. Radopai uses Trinket there, though. Nixie needs to cross the map now. I want to see him line of sighting Acro, make it hard for this Rogue to reconnect.
Yeah, no Bark Skin, no Trinket, no Iron Bark. Nixie is very susceptible in this situation. The only thing that can keep him alive is Jamie with his off heals, with his grounding totem. But Nixie, he activates the Bark Skin. This is the final moments. He doesn't have anything left. He's in bear form, luckily, but Marl pulls the trigger with the ice form. Additional damage. Comet Storm comes crashing down, and Nixie, I don't think you're going to survive this one. And ultimately, he doesn't, making Movie goes up 2-1 in this series.
It might not be over though. Acro's still dropping low. The Sunder comes in. He's so low and they get the cross kill. This isn't over yet. Alex says he's not had enough. The temporal shield. They have to. This is very interesting actually. The healer isn't going to be as effective because of the 40% dampling, and Jamie is also going to be doing a fair bit of healing on that enhancement. These mages duking it out with the Ray of Frost. The polymorphs coming in as the game starts to stabilize, but this 2v2 in this much dampling, I actually think Tempo have the edge here.
Yeah, Radopai, he managed to get the Bash Cyclone onto Jamie, so if he can stabilize his team, things are favorable. We are at 41% dampening, but that also means Jamie's not going to be able to throw out as many off heals onto Alec. Alec just has to survive the best he can. Marl looking for burst on him right now. If he counterspells the polymorph, that means Jamie can basically free cast. Alec's looking for some damage onto Morrow. Radopai is going to be throwing out the Iron Bark, potentially looking for maybe a resurrection here. I don't think that's going to really happen in a matchup like this. Ascendant's going to be used as well. Morrow has both of his ice blocks. It's going to be key to allow Radopai a little bit of breathing room in this matchup, but he might be forced into the first ice block, and is. And this actually isn't looking too bad for Tempo Storm.
I actually think this is a favorable matchup for Tempo Storm because Frost Mages struggle so much to kill in a like one damage situation. It's really not their forte. And Enhancement Shamans, we know how much hybrid healing they can put out. Radopai's already struggling with the 45% dampening. Like you say though, Maro does have both his ice blocks, traded out one, still has the other one. Radopai is completely out of mana though. If Jamie can just keep himself alive here, get a reconnection over onto Maro, this is how they're going to be winning this game. Alec doesn't even need to push for crowd control, he just needs to focus on damage in this situation.
Yeah, I think Morrow really just needs to make sure he's pressuring Jamie the best he can, but it can be very difficult. Enhancement Shamans do a lot of damage. The healing from Radopai is not going to be that strong. This could be the second ice block, and it is. Is Tempo Storm going to be able to take them down in this 3v2 setup? Morrow's in a lot of trouble right now. Radopai gets locked out. Jamie all over him. He's full HP as well. Morrow's not going to be able to get away. Guess what? Alec has snares of his own, and Morrow's going to be stuck in place. Finally pulling the trigger with some damage. A nice Cyclone coming in from Radopai, but Morrow, he is in so much trouble. No ice blocks, no Iron Bark for Radopai. If Alec and Jamie can find the damage, they can easily take him down.
Nixie needs to be careful. We've seen already that Tempo Storm's willing to drop rest to Druids, and they're doing a fantastic job without theirs in this game. But Jamie now caught up in the Mighty Bash. Here is Ray of Frost. He actually sees the Arcane Skull, so the Frost Skull is going to be dealing a lot of damage here, but Morrow is in trouble. Sunder comes out. Jamie is tunneling him down. The Iron Bark is the last line of defense, but Jamie's just going to heal himself then. He's going to heal himself as high as he can behind the pillar, and there's no ice blocks. Tempo Storm from 4 to 3, from 3 to 2, but they're still winning games.
I don't know if he can top himself off though. 54% dampening. I mean, Enhancement Shamans have a lot of off healing, but I don't know if they have that much off healing. This is where Radopai is able to shine. Yeah, he could go for the res, but I think with the Frost Mage having Blizzard and Frozen Orb, it's going to be kind of a nightmare.
Got excited there.
Yeah, it looks like Jamie just wants to go for drinks in this situation. They're trying to buy as much time as possible, but even a Frost Mage is going to be able to get out significant damage at this percentage of dampening. Every little point really, really matters. But Morrow pushing in, I don't know if that's the right decision. He blinked right on top of Jamie. He has no blinks left. He's going to be stuck here all alone. Jamie looking to go all in. Trinkets out, just going to be tanking this damage with the Astral Shift, and now making a movie. They need to survive. I think Morrow got way too aggressive. Full polymorph on Radopai. He trinkets out, but once Iron Bark fades, it's going to be so scary.
Yep, now this share is used over onto the Frost Skull, which means Sheep's coming out onto Alec. Jamie needs to be careful here. The Ascendance button is up in 10 seconds. That Ascendance is a huge amount of burst damage for the Enhancement Shaman. If they can live to that, they might get the kill. Even before that, though, Radopai's doesn't have his Trinket, doesn't have his Iron Bark. Morrow is out of cooldowns as well, and he is being connected over onto. They have to sheep up Jamie, which is such a disaster, but they're going for the res.
They have the Ascendance. No, it's the Ascendance from Jamie. He's going to have range damage. Morrow's not going to be able to blink away, and really Radopai doesn't have anything to respond. There's the Ascendance. Too much burst going to be coming in from Tempo Storm. I don't see how Morrow could ever survive this. Interrupt over onto Radopai. Morrow getting lower and lower, and Tempo Storm, they're battling for their BlizzCon lives. If they win this matchup, it's going to look so good for them to stay in this tournament. That was unbelievable.
Incredible.
Unreal.
There's so much to talk about in this one. There really is, and dropping. I was just like, as soon as Adrian said that, I was just staring. Do have some of these top dogs that have already grabbed their spots at BlizzCon. Not an easy day for anyone. It's about to get a lot harder for Making a Movie. Tempo Storm's got Dalaran Sewers in the back pocket.
I think the only guy that's having an easy day today is Botar, because he's just watching his team, not even able to compete, and they're doing absolutely fine as a three-man roster. Nixie's doing phenomenal on the Restoration Druid, and I talked to Alec before this tournament. He's saying the main reason that they don't like having Nixie as healer is not because he's bad at healer, it's because they don't then also have him as a damage player. But we see they're getting a fantastic start here against Making a Movie, once again forcing huge defensives on Acro.
Yeah, Morrow, he used his ice form, had all his offensives up, and Alec just polymorphed him, and he sat that entire polymorph. Unfortunately, Ratify didn't find the Dispel, and Making a Movie just lost all their offensive pressure because of that. But a big swap over onto Nixie. He might go down right now, actually. Still exceptionally low. Jamie trying to keep him alive. Nixie going to be using the Iron Bark very late, but ultimately that cooldown is so strong, I don't really see him dying through it. We've seen Nixie be greedy with that before, and that's something that Making a Movie can definitely capitalize on.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I want an Enhancement Shaman on my team, because Nixie is in a lot of trouble there. I want an Enhancement Shaman that isn't rich on my team, because this Enhancement Shaman is doing so much healing. Whenever Nixie gets caught out, he's just able to use global after global. As Nixie now caught up into the blind, he's choosing to sit that. And I actually like this choice from Nixie, because he knows that he is the target that Making a Movie has the best opportunities on.
Yep. Alex going to get caught into the kidney shot, uses his Temporal Shield. That's going to fade. Now all this damage is going to be very effective. He blinks the death from above. Very nicely done by Alec. Nixie gets locked out, has to play catch up on Jamie and Alec right now. But it looks like Alex wants to get aggressive, uses the ice form, putting out decent amounts of damage onto Acro. But Acro's just going to line of sight. He kind of realizes that the kill has been lost, so playing it patiently, just waiting for them to have their stuns. That's really when the Rogue is going to excel. When he has these stuns, he can commit them on Alec, and that way he's also safe. He's slowing down the damage of the enemy team, and he can get aggressive when that's not up. That's when he can go for a re-stealth, avoid damage by line of sighting, and I think it's smart.
Yeah, and I think one of the other things you have to talk about is also the assassination spec for Acrolaws means that they're winning the mana game a little bit easier here. Ratify is actually doing a fantastic job on his mana this game. He's been sitting high, got caught up in a couple of polymorphs there, which are going to trade out the ice block, but I think early game that's not a huge deal. Obviously it's not great, but it's a decent trade for the Ascendance from Jamie there, which is the big offensive cooldown for the Enhancement Shaman. But if Acrolaws can get a good connection, just tunnel down Alec, it's going to cost Nixie a lot of mana because of the wound poison, the healing reduction that the Assassination Rogue brings to the table.
Yeah, Morrow landing some polymorphs on Jamie. It looks like they want to make a swap onto Alec. They really want to slow it down, but Alec, we've seen before, he just plays defensively so well. Immediately behind the pillar, blinking out of line of sight. There's the bash on Acro. Alec wants to get aggressive on him. If Jamie can connect, Acro could be in some trouble, but Ironbark's going to be traded out by Ratify. Now a kick over onto Nixie, and I ultimately think Making a Movie with these swaps over onto Alec, I don't think they're going to be able to land a kill with the way he's playing it. So if he can just keep playing defensive, Jamie can help him out. I think Making a Movie is going to have to change their attention over onto Jamie and Nixie as the game progresses.
I actually think Making a Movie have gone for an entirely dampening strategy here. They're playing Assassination, they're playing the mana game, and Ratify, I think he's also given up Cyclone for that Overgrowth talent there, so it's very interesting to see that they basically completely changed from the Making a Movie we know and love, who are this completely aggressive team, but at the same time, if they're going to play the strategy, they need to stop Nixie from drinking, because he just drank to full mana in the backline there, and that is one of the by-consequences of playing a more defensive strategy is the enemy healer's always going to look for those drinks, man.
Yeah, Acro gets caught into the bash once again. Alex soloing him down, forcing out the Cloak of Shadows, and that's the problem. When Acro pushes in, he gets caught into those bashes, and Alex just has so much damage potential when he has the Comet Storm, the Ice Nova, the Frozen Orb all saved up with that ice form. He can basically solo Acro down, and that's where he has to trade out those defenses. So Acro needs to be careful pushing into Alec and Nixie later on in the game. Meanwhile, you can see Jamie just putting out pressure on Morrow, bursting him down quite a bit as that Enhancement Shaman. Morrow has to kite here. Nixie into the full polymorph, though. Alec could be in a little bit of trouble as they put some pressure onto him. Acro looking to connect, land the kidney shot. There's a full blind onto Nixie. Alec all alone, but he responds with the Temporal Shield. It's still active. That should top him off. And Nixie was able to comfortably sit that entire blind sap cheap shot combo.
Yeah, we actually saw Radopai getting out the Cyclone there, which means he's dropped the Focus Growth instead. He does still have that. So he has a few more things in the tool, but his mana is definitely not looking good here. He's down to 40. Of course, Nixie with that drink sitting high and healthy right now as we see the Ice Form coming out of Alec. They're trying to get good damage here over onto Maro, who only has one of his Ice Blocks. The Cyclone coming out onto Radopai, trinketed. He wants to keep his second Ice Block for the Mage, as Dampling will be stacking momentarily here. And that's another cooldown force from Tempo Storm, who quite frankly haven't looked under any pressure for the majority of this game.
Maro getting low, forced into the second Ice Block, so that's not going to be available for a long time. We are just now getting into dampening. Ascendance available for Jamie. If they can force out the Iron Bark, I want Tempo Storm to be very, very patient with this Ascendance. If they can get Iron Bark in a nice setup, then they can use the Ascendance to easily close out the game. Maro's really not going to have anything left for quite some time. It looks like they want to get aggressive over onto Jamie. He's going to be fine. Nixie trades out the Iron Bark. He's going to be able to top him off, but now Jamie's looking to get aggressive. Radopai looking for the drink. Is he going to be able to regen some mana here? Capstun might have denied it. We're not going to be sure until he swaps out. Managed to get a little bit of a drink, but there's a Bash Cyclone coming in from Nixie. Radopai line of sights it. Maro's going to be completely fine because of that.
Yeah, and that was the Ascendance from Jamie. So that big win condition we were talking about, Tempo Storm trying to set up, is denied there. Well played by making a movie. I think actually the Capstun stopped Nixie from getting the Bash Cyclone because of the DR, of course, on the stuns there. So that means that that big win condition is over. 6% dampening. Tempo Storm still need to be careful here, right? They're playing a fantastic game. It's been well calculated for them, but they can get caught out at any time. This is still a Rogue Mage. Maro still has those big traits from the Ice Form, and if he can get one clean setup over onto Jamie or Nixie, this game could turn around in an instant.
Yeah, Maro has his Ice Block coming up in around 1 minute. That's when making a move is really going to feel safe once again. Radopai looking like he wants to get in position where you could potentially go for a drink. He's always dragging Alec and Jamie in the open. I think it's very smart. He can just play defensive like this. He forces the Enhancement Shaman off the pillar, and that's when he is susceptible to the Mage damage, to the Assassination Rogue. When he has the pillar, he can easily just kite around it and avoid a lot of damage. Nixie getting actually sapped there by Acro. Nicely done. Acro uses his Trinket, uses his Vanish, lands a sap, kidney shot on Jamie. He preemptively uses the Astral Shift. He's going to be completely fine because of that, but that was nicely done by making a movie and Acro setting up for his team.
That was a beautiful play, actually. We saw firstly the drink from Nixie was sapped by Acrolol, so they got offensive, and then Maro Nova'd Alec and then sheeped Alec so that Radopai could straight to full mana there. So that's a huge play, power play going into dampening. That actually shifts the balance quite a lot here. They're going to swap some damage over onto Radopai, but honestly, the main goal there was to get his mana up. He's successfully done that. Now I want to see making a movie get aggressive. Jamie low on health right now. Dampening's starting to stack up. Nixie needs to be careful because his team's the one that's actually starting to fall behind a little bit because he's trying to hibernate Radopai, but he's not sleeping on the job. Gets caught up in the Cyclone as he is still in the crowd control here, but not too much doing for Tempo Storm. Making a movie need to find a way of getting this crowd control over onto Alec though, otherwise they will lose this game.
Yeah, Radopai trinkets out though. Acro, no evasion, has to trade out the Cloak of Shadows. That was a lot of pressure coming in from Jamie and Alec onto him. Radopai now caught into the DR Polymorph. Are they going to be able to take Acro down? In the meantime, Jamie under fire, caught into the kidney shot, bashed onto Nixie. He trinkets out, throws out the Iron Bark immediately, gets spell locked, or Radopai actually gets spell locked. He was looking for that Cyclone. Nicely done by Alec defending his Resto Druid. And now Acro's in a lot of trouble using his last line of defense, that evasion, and making a movie. They don't really have any defensives left. Ascendance coming up in 30 seconds. This is looking good for Tempo Storm. We're at 20% dampening. Both Resto Druids have a little bit of mana to work with. Radopai quite ahead. Like you said, that power play can allow him to drink to full, basically reset his mana. Now they have at least that advantage moving forward.
Yep, they get the full Cyclone over onto Alec here. Once again, cross control, forcing the Trinket out from Jamie and the Astral Shift without any major crowd control over onto Nixie. I wonder if they had to do that. It wasn't even the Ice Form coming out of Maro. They're really respecting the Vendetta from Acroloz. Now this is a big opening for making a movie. No Trinket on Nixie, no Trinket on Jamie. Jamie will be the kill target for this Assassination Rogue Mage Druid composition, but they need to survive to it. We see Radopai sitting in the back line, putting out those hots. Acroloz taking a bit of damage, but Jamie scared to commit now because he knows he's the kill target for making a movie.
Yeah, Ascendant's going to be popped. He wants to get aggressive onto Acro. Radopai in a very defensive position there. There's the bash. Acro trinkets out. Doesn't want to get caught into a stun and forced to get bursted down. Jamie's going to be line of sighting once again. Radopai looking for a Cyclone. Everyone manages to avoid it. You can see Acro, he's moving on top of Nixie right here. I don't know if they want to make a swap over on him or they just want to land the kidney shot so Maro can land the Ring of Frost. We'll have to see, but Acro's caught into the kidney shot, or sorry, into the Cyclone, into a Polymorph. Finally going to be able to connect to his target. Alec blinking in, but you can tell Tempo Storm, they're just playing very defensive. They realize Jamie's in a lot of trouble. There's the full blind, but Jamie's stacking on top of Nixie. That's going to limit the amount of damage that Morrow can really do. Jamie doesn't want to run too far away because there's the Frozen Orb. Comet Storm Ice Nova could connect as well, allowing him to get bursted down, but he's trying to line of sight. Nixie finally out of crowd control, throws out the Iron Bark. That should be able to stabilize Jamie, but a nice interrupt coming in from Alec onto Ratapai is going to allow Tempo Storm to get some sort of pressure onto Acro.
Yep, that was the kill attempt there for making a movie, and Jamie does survive it with the hybrid healing. Good grounding totem as well, denied the follow-up low cyclone from Ratapai. So now they're very stable. Nixie has his trinket available, Jamie has his trinket available as well, so they can be the team to get aggressive. We see Morrow has one ice block. He's the target in the eyes of Jamie, who's pushing in at this point. We see Acrylos just being controlled in the back line by Alec as the team starts to push in, and look at the mana once again. Nixie, during all that crowd control, able to regen a fair bit. Meanwhile, Ratapai down to 20%. He does have that Innovate, which of course makes all his heals cost 0 mana, but he's opting not to use it at this point as he wants to push in aggressively for his team.
Yeah, Nixie throws out the Iron Bark, but I don't think making a movie really committed anything. Look, Ice Form, I guess, was used by Morrow, but Vendetta still available for Acro. Jamie's going to be able to trade out his Astral Shift for that. Nixie caught into the crowd control. He can't trinket out, or he's susceptible to a full blind. Jamie now uses the Astral Shift on the Vendetta, wanted to have that trade. He got it, but still good pressure mounting for making a movie. Nixie managed to land a Cyclone onto Ratapai, looking for damage on Morrow, but he gets the Iron Bark, has the Ice Block as well, so making a movie, they have a lot of defensives to rotate through. In the meantime, Tempo Storm, they have essentially nothing left. They traded out everything there. The only thing available is Jamie's trinket, so he's going to have to trinket out of that stun. He's going to have to play close to a pillar if he wants to be able to survive these next few setups. Yep,
it's all on Jamie for the next one. He needs to get the trinket, grounding totem, or wind shear, whatever is needed to deny crowd control over onto his healer. But of course, there's a blind available for Acro Lols, so that's going to be the big win condition coming up here for making a movie. Meanwhile, of course, Ratapai doesn't have his trinket either, so there's definitely, and this is getting very close to the end here, Ben. 40% dampening, healing reduction for both of these restorations druids as Nixie once again sits down for a drink whilst his team's getting aggressive, but we're just waiting for that big play. Here comes Acrolos, he's looking for the blind, step blind, they're going for the kill.
Yeah, Jamie could be in some trouble, kidney shot on him, but Acro, he gets Cone of Colded so far away, he can't reconnect, he manages to find the sap. Ratapai in position for a bash Cyclone as well. Jamie's all alone, Acro looking to solo him. Morrow getting in position, Ray of Frost gets channeled out, and Jamie, I don't think you're living this one. Making a movie ties up the series 2-2.
Another Game 5 is going to be on the menu here. The winner of this going to move on. This is an elimination series, and just want to kind of reiterate.
But this is the final resting place for one of these teams. Lower bracket will be eliminated if you lose this one. Game 5, making a movie, looking for those quick kills, looking for those swaps over onto Nixie. Meanwhile, Tempo Storm trying to kind of atrophy them into nothingness with this strategy. We see the blind coming out immediately from Nixie, or from Acro. They're trying to get aggressive here.
Yeah, Jamie into the kidney shot. A lot of burst pressure immediately. Tempo Storm, they do not want to throw this away. Nixie gets cheap shot on his trinket. Jamie trying to keep himself alive with the trinket, with the Astral Shift, doing everything he can, using the Tomb's line of sight to avoid the incoming damage from Morrow. I think that's very intelligent. Nixie finally out of crowd control, but Tempo Storm, they traded out so much at the beginning of that game, and Acro still has the Vendetta.
Yeah, I mean, they traded out a lot, and on top of that, Nixie didn't line up his trinket with the blind because he trinketed the sap, so that means there's two openings here for making a movie. There's the immediate one with the Vendetta, and then there's also the blind later on. They might even wait for the all-in on the blind. We'll have to see what they choose here. Jamie kiting away, doesn't even have the Ascendance. He traded that out in the midst of all this. You can see he's playing very defensively right now. Like you say, they're not wanting to throw this game away. This is Game 5, and Tempo Storm, this three-man roster, have come so far. It'd be such a shame to throw it away at this point.
Well, Tempo Storm, they need this game if they want to make sure that their BlizzCon dreams are solidified, whereas making a movie, they've already qualified. There's really not that much on the line for them, so they can't throw this game away. Nixie now taking a little bit of damage. Nice triple fear coming in. Beautiful. Jamie, he is going to use the Tremor, but a nice swap over onto Nixie. They force out the Bark Skin. Morrow's putting out a lot of damage right now. Has everything up with the Dark Archangel. Nixie barely surviving. Jamie, in the meantime, also taking quite a bit of damage. Making a movie, just killing everybody.
That was a beautiful pre-Tremor from Jamie, but it might not be enough as Nixie dropping low, able to get out some heals. We see the Sheep over onto Jamie. Honestly, that might even help Tempo Storm to restabilize their health pools here. But that pre-Tremor, if it hadn't landed, would have been game. Nixie wouldn't have got the off heals and he would have gone down there. Ratapai has used about 40% of his mana so far. Of course, that's the win condition on the flip side for Tempo Storm, but still no trinket on Nixie. They're using the smoke bomb here. They have the blind in about 5 seconds here. The Iron Bar comes down. They're trying to stabilize. I would have loved to have seen Making a Movie wait maybe 5 seconds on that. Now Nixie's on the blind DR with that fear, so they're not going to have a kill window here, and Making a Movie starting to fall a little bit behind in this game. Now the opportunities are gone, as Nixie will have his trinket back up.
Yeah, Maro forced into his first ice block of the game. Radipai's not doing horrible on his mana, though. Still at around 65% in this matchup. Has the Dark Archangel coming up. Maro has the Ice Form as well, so there is a lot of damage opportunities for Making a Movie. Looking for a setup. Nixie trinkets out of the blind immediately to keep Jamie alive, as he's getting bursted down by the Ice Form, by the Dark Archangel, and Nixie's not messing around this time. He wants to make sure Jamie's stable so they can continue this pressure on Maro. Maro getting interrupted. Alex putting out big burst. This could be the second ice block. Ratipai doesn't really have too much to keep him alive. It's caught into the crowd control. Alec really making plays for his team, CCing up everyone from Making a Movie, bursting down Maro. Maro, no ice blocks left, still under fire. Alec looking for the Ebon Bolt, but I think Maro should be able to survive for now.
Yep, Nixie getting caught up into the kidney shot, though, has managed to get the preemptive bear form, and Maro out of line of sight, meaning that Nixie should be able to get away from this one, but doesn't have Barkskin, doesn't have the trinket, and we can see Vendetta coming up in about 13 seconds here, as is the ice form for Maro. So that's the big win condition now for Making a Movie. They've kind of given up on Jamie here, although he doesn't have the Astral Shift. He could potentially be a swap target as well, but clearly Nixie would be a fantastic one. We can see Acrolor's just chasing after him at this point, tunneling him down, trying to put up those bleeds, setting up for this next onslaught, Ven.
Yep, Maro, he pops his offensives. Here's a big swap on a Nixie. The Jamie trinkets out. He's trying to keep him alive, spamming out the heals. Nixie barely surviving. Once again, the Ice Nova comes, connects by Maro. Nixie getting out of line of sight. Iron Bark's going to be used at 5% HP, and I think he's going to live with that. Bash over onto Acro. No trinket available. Full Cyclone coming in. Nixie will top himself off. Making a Movie. They're making huge plays in this game in terms of offense, but Ratipai is almost out of steam in terms of mana. They need to get a kill, and they need it fast.
Yeah, Making a Movie, we're hoping to make a short film here, but it's going a little bit longer than they anticipated, as Nixie once again survives there with Jamie off healing. We see a beautiful Fear, though, coming down before the Tremor, but Nixie once again in that bear form means there's no swap opportunities for Making a Movie, who once again, they're fizzling out a little bit here, then. This trinket's back up for Nixie in about 10 seconds here. Jamie has the Astral Shift, and the longer this goes on, the more Tempo Storm will have that tempo in their favor.
Yeah, there's no question about that. Tempo Storm is looking really good, but that's an interrupt over on Nixie with a kidney shot on Jamie. No way can Making a Movie just take it out in one interrupt. This is what we're talking about for Making a Movie. They can just make plays happen out of nowhere. Ratipai's completely tapped on mana, and Tempo Storm, they cannot believe what just happened.
And this is what they are so good at, finding those Reformed or skill-capped red.
BlizzCon is on the line here in game number 1. Reformed have already qualified. Skill-capped red, they need a first-place finish in this cup, and not only this one, they need another in the final cup to make it all the way. They have a long road to BlizzCon, but at least they've got one.
That is true. Dizio and Adam Rex are going to be dueling it out in the middle of the map, both Relza and Zuniaki as well. Looks like Adam Rex, he wants to pull the trigger first with a full trap onto Relza, but unfortunately, Feral Druid is not going to be able to get there. And Cassidy gets found out of stealth. It looks like the Feral Druid is the target of choice, more than likely. Dizio actually getting a little bit low. There's a bash over onto Relza. He trinkets out, uses the human racial. Dizio still under fire for the time being, but looks like Cassidy, he's just going to be running away, avoiding as much damage as possible. Zuniaki was caught into that trap.
All right, we see Incarnation pulled first by Cassidy. Flappers is just kiting away and not taking nearly as much damage as you would expect. There's actually Cassidy on the back foot. Freezing trap secured. Flappers preemptively activates his wall. He sees the damage coming due to crowd control on his healer, activates that defensive and avoids a lot of it before it even happens. There's a nice read by Flappers. Adam Rex now leading the charge for his team with coordinated assault, boosting his damage quite a bit. I'm curious to see. Zuniaki tried to premonition that trap. He was 1 second off. That's going to put his team behind. A stun on Cassidy could end the match. They're not able to get it. Instead, stunning Zuniaki. Cassidy should start to stabilize here. Zuniaki gets out of crowd control. Relza preemptively pain suppressions the freezing trap. These Discipline Priests have to predict crowd control and use abilities 1 second before it hits, or they could easily just lose the match.
Yeah, Zuniaki moving into position to land a fear, but Dizio shutting it down with the roots. Expertly done by Reform defending Relza. Zuniaki gets interrupted as well. There's the maim. Can Relza get there for the full fear? Doesn't look like it, but Dizio manages to land the trap, also using the mending bandage over onto Flappers to keep him alive. Reform's been doing a good job so far. Skill cap red, all the pressure onto them. Zuniaki gets interrupted. Cassidy into a stun. Big pressure coming in from Dizio as Relza goes into the full trap. Now Flappers is going to be the one that has to play a little defensive.
I don't know. Cassidy's still low, and he's just been off-healing this whole time, whereas Flappers has been tearing in. Flappers gets caught into a stun. He's trying to stun Zuniaki. Flappers is now life gripped away. Zuniaki needs to be careful here. If he gets stun locked into a freezing trap, Cassidy could easily go down. There's the stun. Where's the trap? Dizio moves over. He should be able to snipe that quite easily. Cassidy's kiting and avoiding the reconnect. Adam Rex backs him up with a mending bandage. That was a nice move by Adam Rex. Removes all the bleeds and allows Cassidy to be safe. That teamwork by them could win them the match here. That crowd control was likely going to be the end of the game if they didn't make that move. Now Flappers is on the back foot. Any crowd control on Relza could close this out.
Yeah, Flappers looking to get aggressive, though. Anytime your healers in crowd control, you can see the Feral Druids running away. Relza into the Fear. Flappers retreating, just playing a little bit defensive. Now Fear secured onto Cassidy and Adam Rex. Zuniaki actually avoiding that. He was just so far away that Relza had to use it defensively. Now with the full maim over onto Zuniaki into the full trap. Cassidy could be in trouble, but he preemptively uses Survival Instincts and turns the pressure over onto Flappers. This is just such a back and forth game very early on, but Relza is almost completely tapped on mana.
The mana is the name of the game right now. He's caught into a freezing trap. Flappers trades cooldowns to reduce his incoming pressure. I think Flappers is also running the Veiled Eye trinket, which is interesting. They want to survive those crowd control chains and be a little bit more beefy. It makes sense in this matchup as it's so fast-paced, but Relza is actually the one that's completely tapped on mana. Zuniaki doing a better job in that front, managing it. Relza getting interrupted on Smite. Now he's using Shadow Mends. That's going to cost the rest of his mana. He's not going to have any for quite some time, but Zuniaki's still in a freezing trap. Cassidy's in a 3-on-2. How's he going to make it out? Adam mending bandages. Now Flappers on the back foot, getting chased down. Potential cross kill maybe in this position. Cassidy just wants to run down for the win. Freezing trap on Relza. Skill cap red want that BlizzCon, but they're 1 second away now. They get it in game number 1. Cassidy's still in a bit of trouble. Zuniaki gripping him to safety. Shadow mending him back to full, and Skill cap red did a great job managing their mana throughout all that onslaught, and Relza's going to have to kind of clean that up moving to game number 2.
Yeah. Flappers just barely going to go down there. And another thing to note is that we are going to see one come out here. Obviously, we are going to see the Night Elves on the side of the Druids, and kind of have to check which time of the day it is to know exactly which buffs they're going to be getting. It gets a little bit tricky. But we will see Reformed on the back foot, the first team to make it all the way to BlizzCon, and now they just want to prove how strong they can be. Will Skill Cap Red be able to keep their BlizzCon dreams alive and get on match point?
Dizio and Adam Rex are going to be knocking each other out of stealth, or out of camouflage. Dizio now caught into the full stun. You can see Adam Rex putting a full trap over onto Relza. Cassidy gets found by Flappers. This isn't the worst start for Reform, but Relza's caught into the full fear. If Skill Cap Red can capitalize on this, they can get some very early momentum. Flappers realizing the situation. He's just trying to kite away, but Cassidy's all over him right now as he rots down lower and lower. Fear now over onto Zuniaki. Very back and forth. Relza gets interrupted into the full bash. Flappers all alone. Relza trying to keep him alive. Manages to stabilize him for now, but this is not the best start for Reformed.
No, they're behind on Trinket now, but they've used Incarnation first, and you said it's a bit of an enrage timer, so the sooner the Ferals use it in this matchup, the faster it becomes available the second time when the priests are tapped on mana. So I think it's a smart move for Flappers using that cooldown early on. Cassidy respecting it, trading 1 for 1, now popping his Incarnation. Curious to see who falls behind in this position. Zuniaki feared up. Adam Rex trying to stand on top of him to eat any potential traps. Life grip from onto Cassidy, trying to get some distance away from Flappers here and recover through this initial burst. Cassidy's definitely not got the best exchange of this initial Incarn trade. His is going to be coming up a lot later. He didn't really get any cooldowns done with it. Reformed are in the lead.
Yeah, Reform's doing quite well. You can see Flappers, he has both ticks of Survival Instincts. That's a major defensive for him. 50% damage reduction, but he's caught into the full stun. Can they just burst him down? Intimidation stun?
Oh,
that setup from Skill Cap Red was so clean. And now they're up 2-0 against Reformed, and they might be able to dethrone them as the best jungle.
Cassidy looking like Shere Khan here with the fact about this map.
You didn't steal my line. Thank you very much.
Well,
Bruce Lordaeron would be a fitting final resting place.
Why do they always pick this map?
I don't know.
Like every series today has been a fitting final resting place right now.
They just want to hear me say it.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Reformed, they're down 0-2 right now. Definitely need to pick up this win if they want to stay in the tournament, but this is such a volatile matchup that it could definitely happen. You just need one good crowd control chain with the stun on the Feral Druid. You can take him down very quickly. Reminds me of RMP Mirror. So We're definitely looking for Reform to strike back.
Well, I mean, that game was in Reform's favor, except for one window of opportunity that skill-capped Red snuck away with. Both hunters find each other in stealth. They're just going to be whacking each other. We see a stun on Dizio early on. Adam Rex jumps over. He's trying to bait the premonition, and Relza actually doesn't even commit it. He didn't want to get baited on it, so Dizio is now landing these traps without Relza even activating it. Nice follow-up by Zuniaki. But Adam Rex can't really stay on target. Dizio with some nice evasive maneuvers here. Dipping still lower, trades out the exhilaration. It seems like Skillcat Red have changed their targeting. As Dizio is not a dwarf and he's playing human, this could be a mistake in terms of race choices from Reformed.
Yeah, Cassidy moving in, gets the pounce stun onto Flappers, bash over onto Relza. Looks like they really want to get aggressive early on onto Adam Rex, but Flappers the one that's going to have to play a little bit defensive. Dizio charging in over onto Cassidy right now. Flappers looking to reconnect, uses his survival instincts. Relza caught into the trap though, so Flappers just predicting this incoming damage, just trying to avoid it. In the meantime, though, Skill Cap Red, they still have pressure on Dizio.
All right, Adam Rex has constantly been using these mending bandages. I really want to see Dizio do the same and remove these bleed effects. Otherwise, Relza's going to have to spend a lot more mana than Zuniaki. Flappers and Cassidy both have Incarn rolling. They're looking to build up a ton of momentum. Crowd control onto both healers. No freezing traps just yet. We're really looking to see when those are secured. Zuniaki trapped up first. Relza just penancing aggressively as Cassidy's pinned down in the room, trying to desperately just hide in the corner and survive while his healers crowd control. He's managed to weather it. Now Relza in a freezing trap. Flappers in a stun. They're gunning down to try and force his trinket. They do actually pull the trinket from Flappers. I'm not sure if that was entirely needed. Now it's an opening.
Yeah, Flappers could be in trouble. We saw what happened in game number 2 where Skill Cap Red took him down in one trap. In the meantime, Cassidy getting bursted down in the main stun. Zuniaki grips him to save his life, using the Rapture as well. Going to be able to spam out the Power Word shields to keep him alive. It's a very powerful Discipline Priest defensive. Both priests really only have their pain suppression to work with. Now Zuniaki goes into the full trap. Cassidy, realizing the situation, immediately pops the survival instincts and looks to get aggressive on Flappers.
Relza actually has a mana lead right now, but Zuniaki caught in crowd control. Need to see if Dizio can snipe the trap. Doesn't look like he was able to land it, but Cassidy is still taking a lot of pressure. Will Zuniaki be able to top him off? Skull Bash puts Zuniaki a little bit behind. He's having to use Shadow Mend. That's going to cost him a lot more mana, and we've seen this game go until the priests are out of mana. Likely in another minute and 30 seconds, no matter what the game ends at that point, but before that, it's still scary. Double second screen, but Flappers is stunned up. Relza with amazing peels there. That double kept Flappers nice and safe. Now Cassidy on the back foot is Reformed. Look to strike back in the series. Do they have enough? It looks like they don't. Zuniaki denies the kill of 10% with that pain suppression. He's desperately trying to pick him back up, but it's costing a lot of his mana to do so, but he kept him alive.
Yep, Cassidy's going to be able to survive. Now Flapper's in a lot of trouble. He has to run away. He's in bear form. Relza caught into the main. Survival Instincts comes up. Relza gets mind controlled by Zuniaki. Zuniaki playing very risky there. Not going to be able to heal up Cassidy, and now might go into the crowd control chain. Cassidy's out of line of sight. Relza lands a double fear. Cassidy all alone trying to stun off Flappers and keep himself alive. Adam Rex eats the trap onto Zuniaki. That was very nicely done, and now Zuniaki's going to be free to keep Cassidy alive and keep him aggressive on the Flappers.
Nice MVP plays from Adam Rex. He's secured a freezing trap. Flappers now on the back foot. Relza preemptively barriered before the crowd control. That really absorbed a lot of damage on Flappers, but that barrier is now ended. Relza gets out of the second screen, goes for a penance, gets Skull Bash, now going for Shatter Mends, gets interrupted by Adam Rex. Nice interrupt chain by Skill Capped Red. It's on match point. They definitely want BlizzCon. Flappers is in desperation mode, jumping towards Relza to survive. Mana's completely tied at this point. Incarns are up at the exact same second, and 15 seconds from now, this game is just going to explode.
Yeah, Cassidy could be in some trouble now as well. Zuniaki, if he gets caught into the trap, both priests don't have a trinket available. Cassidy getting lower and lower. He gets gripped to safety by Zuniaki, but now into the main. Cassidy not going to survive this one, and Reform strike back.
We need to just call out how incredibly both of these teams are playing. Yes, it is 2-1, but we see MVP plays coming out of Adam Rex in that situation, and we see it on the side of Reformed as well, and it is clear.
On the other hand, are looking to show that they're back in shape. They haven't had a good performance for months now. This is their opportunity to show that they're back before BlizzCon. Zuniaki charging across the map quite recklessly to try and find both Flappers or Dizio from stealth. He's not going to find either, unfortunately. If the Discipline Priest can find a target in stealth, it would be a nice advantage.
Yeah, Zuniaki retreating now, and looking like he's not going to be able to find anyone. Dizio and Flappers are going to be close to each other. Adam Rex and Cassidy, they're positioned very far away. You can see the Holy Nova spam coming in. You can get the enemy team out of their camouflage or their invisibility. It's going to be nice. Your team's going to be able to get the crowd control early on and also have a target you can open up on.
Ooh, they found Flappers. Cassidy's still in stealth. Now he can initiate a sneak attack. He's trying to jump as quickly as possible to Flappers. wants to open up with a rake stun. We see Relza interrupted. Adam Rex has been trying to get a freezing trap. Zuniaki goes in for Psychic Stream instead. It's a 3-on-2. Relza's trapped up. Flappers has to trade his trinket. Flappers heavily behind on match point, taking a ton of damage early on. Relza uses Human Reach, but even that might not be enough. Flappers are getting torn apart.
Yeah, this is everything from Reformed to keep Flappers alive. They need some counter pressure. Cassidy now in bear form, doing an excellent job reading the situation, making sure to just deny any sort of pressure that Reformed wants to grab with this Incarnation. Now Flappers in trouble once again. Mending Bandage is going to be used by Dizio to try to remove some of those bleeds like we've been talking about. Buy Flappers just a little bit more time.
Yeah, Flappers is restabilized, but he doesn't have Trinket. In the meantime, Zuniaki caught into a stun. Relza in a freezing trap. Both healers locked down. Dizio jumps over. Will Zuniaki be able to premonition the trap? He premonitions and then fears of having mistimed it, but Dizio is patient there. That was good patience. That's going to get them survival instincts from Cassidy. Flappers has to get pain suppression. Right now, skill-capped Red are in the driver's seat for match point. With having trinkets available, Reform need a miracle bite.
Yeah, Cassidy's getting low, though. There's a full bash on the Flappers. But Cassidy, he's not feeling confident to push in, throwing out the regrowth on himself, top himself off, allowing Zuniaki to get out some Shadow Mends as well. It looks like pain suppression is really the only thing that Skill Cap Red has going for them over Reformed in this matchup. So Zuniaki's going to have to do an excellent job with that. Now Cassidy pushing in, wants to get the damage on Flappers. He's just going to try to avoid with bear form, leaping away over to Relza once again. Zuniaki got caught in the trap in the meantime. There's a double fear coming in from Zuniaki. Flappers in so much trouble in the main stun. Can they take him down right here, right now? Mind control from Zuniaki as well. Flappers getting lower, but Relza finally out of the crowd control, needs to top him off.
Big heals from Relza in the nick of time to save Flappers. Now Relza has a massive mana lead over skill-capped Red, and Flappers has defensive cooldowns coming up very shortly. This is actually looking better and better for Reform. We may be going to a Game 5. Crowd control on the whole team. Cassidy ducking for cover already to try and preemptively avoid it. He's doing a fantastic job avoiding all that crowd control and stunning up Flappers. Nice defensive awareness from Cassidy. Now they've got Relza trapped up. Zuniaki's in position for a Psychic Scream. Flappers in a 3-on-2 on the run. Cassidy trying to reconnect, dashing over, maybe for a bash. Dizio's trying to slow him down. Mind control instead. Flappers is still alone. Trades out the survival instincts. They stun Cassidy to delay the stun on Relza for 1 more second. Will that delay be enough, or will Flappers fall in potentially the final game? He jumps over to Zuniaki to try and get to safety, but that's not very safe. He's hanging on by a thread on match point. Relza's mashing Shadow Mend to keep Flappers alive, but even still, just falling more and more behind. Is he actually going to stay alive? Traps onto both priests. It's a race to the finish. Flappers gets locked down. He trinkets. Ducks for cover out of line of sight. Relza leaves the crowd control, but Cassidy jumps in to follow up. Flappers runs for cover, but he's not going to make it, I don't think. Hanging on it, no, will fall. And despite having the mana lead, skill-capped Red lead with momentum and power, advancing in the lower bracket 3-1.
And they're going to be able to keep their BlizzCon dreams alive. They say welcome to the jungle, and they bring Reform down to their knees. And this is huge right now, and making a movie against Skill Cap Red, the two teams that still have hopes to be able to make it to the finals of the year, to BlizzCon, are going to go head-to-head. If Making a Movie can take down Skill Cap Red, they ensure their spot to BlizzCon, and we're going to be seeing that tomorrow.
I think Making a Movie actually is safe at this point. It's Temple Storm that's still...
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So
they're going to earn these Temple Storm spot at BlizzCon.
Yeah.
And